It's not true. That is some literary. That's some Emily Dickinson style, which I do like Emily Dickens. That's Emily Dickens style, flowery fucking Victorian era bullshit. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fortune favors the bold. Yeah, when people carried around swords, you son of a bitch, none of that's true. It's bullshit. Continue.
Thanks to our Patreon. Tim Roberts, Daniel Holker, Nostalgic, and Natalia Cline.
Thank you guys, and Natalia Cline.
Couchfire Media for the stuff.
Keeping
as well as
it real.
Replay.
Let's not talk about Twi Replay ever again. I'm quitting that fucking... Fuck them.
Welcome to Night's Pod.
Gold my ass.
The title is canceled. And
Fortune favors my ass. That's what it is.
It's true. We're here, as we are, exactly at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time Zone. And I guess it's 4 Western Time Zone.
Yeah.
And it's like some other time in England.
You know what? Like, I'm just gonna just spit forth horrible poison upon the world. It's me.
Yeah.
I am so fucking tired of YouTubers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all fucking happy. Like, they got these curated, you know, videos. Because, you know, they edited it. And they're, like, all excited and shit about whatever the fuck they're talking about. And all they are used car salesmen. That's it. That's it. I mean, a few of them are creating, like, actually new shit. But most of them, no. And have you noticed, do you watch the Jon Stewart, whatever the fuck he is now?
The Daily Show?
I don't know if is it the Daily Show? Yeah, the Daily Show, which I like. I like the Daily Show. I love it.
It makes me feel entitled and, like, full of myself for being on the right side of whatever they're on about.
Oddly, the left. I think. I don't know. Anyway.
It's fun to go through and be like, oh yeah, I'm on the same page. It's the gang's all here, the party's all here. What is kind of on about?
Yeah, this idea. So I don't know if it's because I just started listening to it again, right? Because it just started. But this whole array of would-be Jon Stewart-like people are now on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe this started earlier.
That's the algorithm.
I just saw it. I guess it's
been going on.
The algorithm. All these people, they're like,
you start getting people talking about, you know, stuff.
They're like showing clips, and it's like the news. They're like, I'm the news now, and they're all just trying to get famous. That's it. Like, I do appreciate people trying to be like, hey, here's shit, and we're giving some kind of news.
There's a couple good ones.
I do appreciate that. However,
I like
just trying to get fucking famous. They're just trying to get famous.
It's not a good podcast to really know anything about. I just thumbs down myself. The world, it's just, you know, I used to have a podcast like that.
What happened?
Well, I promised not to disparage anyone that I was involved with.
Oh, right. I see. When did you promise that?
Years ago.
Oh. I mean, anybody that betrays me is on the chopping block.
I support their cause. I support what they're about, but they're doomed to fail, just like a lot of other podcasts.
Just like us.
Doomed to fail.
Doomed to fucking fail.
I mean, if you're looking for gratification or some kind of, you know, you're better off getting a job at the supermarket.
Yeah. That's where you should get a job. Get a job at the supermarket.
I'm pretty sure the deli is hiring those people that make the rotisserie chickens because that job is shit. Having done that myself in the past.
Did you do that? Is it?
Yeah, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. You'd get up, and then like the first thing you did was without gloves. I mean, I think we had like plastic gloves, but you shove your hands in the freezer and like be handling hundreds of these like frozen fucking chickens, and they all smell terrible even though they're frozen. It's like, how is this possible? It is. I feel like I went on a tangent, but that might be the only job I'm qualified for at this point.
That's the thing, man. Like, I go on this rant, this tirade, quite a bit. It's this, I don't like the tirade because it doesn't present a solution to the problem. It presents a woe is me victim idea, kind of like in the Bible, when like all, you know, like the cities, you know what I'm talking about. You're in the Bible Belt. In the Bible, a lot of times,
turning to salt.
Right. Only if you're the wife. I don't even know if she has a name. It's Lot's wife is who you're talking about. I'm not even sure she has a name.
Yeah, she the wife of Lot. I mean, only Mary. That's the only name of woman in the Bible, isn't it?
No, it was Ezra. Ezra's a badass too.
Yeah, well, better than Ezra. Absolutely sucks.
Esther as well. Ezra.
Terrible.
No, Esther is the book that I'm thinking of. Ezra may be a dude's name. I'm not actually sure. Not sure. I can't remember. There's Jezebel. Jezebel's awesome in the Bible, dude. She's a cool fucking character, and I think that Eva Green kind of plays her in every role.
I like that song "Juke Joint Jezebel" by KMFDM.
Oh, I know KMFDM, but I don't know that specific song.
It was one of their popular ones.
I confuse KMFDM for another acronym. It's not an acronym. Initialization band, the NGNT, which I know they sound nothing like.
Yeah, they're very different.
I confused the huh?
I like both.
Let's confuse them all to hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my tirade essentially has to do with millennials are actually Gen Xers. What I'm trying to say is, from what I understand, Gen X was called Gen X because you're a Gen Xer. Why were you called Gen X? Or why was the generation called Gen X?
I don't know. I mean...
Oh, okay, well, I can tell you. So it's called Generation X because you're a bunch of dropouts and has-beens and...
Yeah, we were the void generation. Is that correct?
Yeah, you were supposed to be the generation that didn't do anything, which is ironic because Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and fucking, Elon Musk, and whether you like these people or not, they have changed the world in a lot of places.
Well, we were close enough. We were the last generation to have some people be successful.
I mean, what's his nuts? Mark Zuckerberg's a millennial.
Yeah, but we have some people that are successful than millennials.
Oh, sure. So, from what I understand, Gen X. So it's a lot of this theory. It's really not theory. It's more like it's like art history. It's all retrospective, right? And it mutates as time goes on. So the idea of Gen X was you had the boomers, which is actually two versions of the boomers. There's the early boomers and the late boomers. So you got the Generation 1 boomers, and you have what's called Generation Jones, and those are the later boomers. After that's Gen X. And the idea was you have this massive population of post-World War II babies, right? A huge population. And the world is their fucking oyster. Why? This is assuming they're American, by the way, because this is all cultural based.
Yeah.
Why? Because America was the only superpower at the time that wasn't utterly fucking destroyed. No real fighting happened on the mainland, at least, right? So our infrastructure was there. The world's our oyster. this is like when you look at the movies from the 50s and 60s and such. It's the reason that America has this feel of we're invincible. I know there's exceptions to this. I know, and people can point out the exceptions, but go with what I'm saying here, all right? My point, when you have the silver spoon in your mouth, and then your children come along. So there's this idea of children that didn't have to try. This is Gen X. I believe it was a smaller generation, especially in comparison to the boomers. Now the boomers will, I really don't have a hate for them. I'm annoyed sometimes, but I've had some pretty good conversations out here actually with people that are of that generation, and they're still very active because they're from the West Coast and they never age. So they say, or a few of them have said, what's interesting is what was hard for them is the competition. I never thought of that.
Yeah, we compete, we don't share or work together.
Well, I mean them, because there's so many of them. So if you think about like Woodstock, if you think of Woodstock, the 60s, free love, this kind of stuff, this is the early boomers, and then also the late boomers into the 70s. That's all them. So all the people that are doing the civil rights stuff, I mean, obviously you have a little bit older as well, but these are the boomers. These are the radical people. You could argue they're the people that went to the buffet. You have a shitload of them, and there's this huge cultural explosion, and they accomplished a whole lot. They also ate all the food at the buffet.
Well, I mean, you can't blame that on the boomers. The thing is that lobbyists.
You can't?
No,
you can't.
There are things called lobbyists, and they lobbied for the infrastructure that we have in place that is ultimately defeating ourselves and putting us in this downward spiral of society, where the old guard the old economy never took anything into account of things like limited resource and the things.
You mean they never made decisions.
Yeah,
as in they were aware of it.
Sure. We're talking boomers, right?
So Dick Cheney, I don't think was a boomer. Like his Rumsfeld, or the fuck his name is. I don't believe they're boomers. I want to say they're older than that, because they were in. Were they in their 30s or 40s? Actually, maybe they were. Maybe they were early boomers, but I don't think so. I think they were born in the 30s.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, my point is, I'm not arguing against the boomers in so much as, especially in the 60s and 70s, they didn't have any power. They just had power because there were a shitload of them.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely blame them for our current policies. They're the ones making it. And
sure. I mean, yeah.
Like the people that did the civil rights shit, those are the age group.
Yeah.
Like we have in our minds, we're like they're always 20 years old. They're not. Yeah. They were 20 then, and then they got into politics.
The boomers have been in power since the early 80s. Early 80s. And so
the Bill Clintons.
We're 40 years
Donald
later.
Trumps.
And they're all in their 80s now, and they're still trying to run the
70s,
world.
yeah.
Is that what you're telling me? And they did it all wrong? Because they did.
Yeah.
But they were fed a lot of they were alive in the 50s and 60s, early 60s. I mean, if you're looking at propaganda, that was the time of propaganda. That was when
Red Scare, McCarthyism, etc.
Yeah, and the promotion of the automobile, which I think is going to be our downfall.
I'll agree with you. I feel weird about that.
Just we really screwed ourselves over. I mean, sure, autonomy, but if there was a decent,
it's not real autonomy. It's not autonomy.
It's a myth.
No, it's indentured servitude is what it is.
Yeah.
Which is my entire point of my generational thing. So we'll circle back to it.
But yeah, the boomers, they also caused, a lot of our manufacturing and stuff like that to go to other countries as well. We were a manufacturing hub, and there was a big push in the 70s and 80s that Americans didn't want to do that kind of work. We needed to go to college and
Well, they are the ones that were that started actually going to college, and college was affordable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what we consider, especially now, when you and I were going through college. It wasn't that either. So we got to take it in context. It's not that the boomers are bad. They're not. In fact, and this is kind of my point, the boomers and millennials are actually very similar.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, this is my opinion. This is a corollary. I don't have like scientific, evidence based on this. People can argue it, and should. This is something through some of my conversations with a couple people out here. I started to realize their perspective. Specifically, I'd never heard boomers' perspective on Gen X. I've always looked at it from a millennial's perspective.
We were the failures.
But you're not. But you were supposed to be, which was kind of what I was saying. You're supposed to be the why do we have to do that generation?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to accomplish anything generation. But in fact, you weren't. And oddly enough, Gen X started doing things like becoming more conservative. Why? Well, look at the boomers. We like to look at Facebook and say, oh yeah, fuck you, boomer. But actually, again, we take it out of context. Boomers were the free love people. Hey, why is there AIDS?
Apparently somebody had sex with a monkey.
This is an incredibly contentious statement.
I feel like
there's an idea.
It's like COVID bats.
COVID bats. There is an idea. What I just said was incredibly contentious.
Sure.
There's an idea that was not voiced. It was just presently voiced by me, but this was not my idea. Call it conspiracy.
Where did you get it from? I love sources.
A boomer. A boomer.
So you got it from a person. Where did they get it from?
Just their little zeitgeist in their own whatever.
Did you ever play that game where you like whispered into somebody's ear?
The telephone game? Yeah, I call it the internet.
But you can copy and paste that stuff. Like the old 80s game where people whisper, like they can't play that game anymore because of COVID. But
no, you'll get COVID in your ear. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
But the idea is everybody's fucking everybody. It's the same. Let me qualify this statement.
But my generation.
Let me qualify. So why did the Spanish influenza, aka the flu, why did it kill just an exorbitant amount of people? Which, by the way, well, we won't get into that. In like 1918, World War One-ish.
And I had it a month ago, and I was about ready to call the hospital because we couldn't.
Influenza will actually fuck your day up. So.
Oh yeah.
Why did it happen? Well, it's because of World War One. Because people are actually moving.
Yeah.
Lots of people from different places. Also, famine, war, death, etc. All these things. Well, you look at where did AIDS come around? It was likely around in the 60s. It's likely been around for a long time.
Sure.
But people all over the place started wantonly fucking. And today, people look at us today and they're like, oh, you guys are lascivious and you have no standards and you fuck around on dating apps and stuff. And all this is true. However, it is nothing compared to what was happening in the 70s.
Sure.
Nothing. Nothing.
We
have no idea what they were like.
Generation X was very prudish because of AIDS. And
that's my point.
For sure.
Well, and your parents may not have talked about it.
Yeah. Well, I grew up being a kid, and I knew people who died of AIDS in the early 80s, and
Yeah,
like that was
STDs
pushed on
suddenly
our throat.
became it was suddenly oh God. And, of course it was used politically to shame, homosexuals and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Which
Oh, absolutely.
ain't fucking cool.
No, it's not.
So
Because
Gen X becomes prudish, right?
Mm.
It makes sense because the boomers ain't. They're actually incredibly liberal. They're incredibly liberal. They just grew up and then bought their houses because their parents had nothing. And then they were like, wait, hold on a second. It's good to be conservative because we want to keep our wealth. Gen X are the kids of them. I'm not trying to say all Gen Xers had it easy. They didn't. However, the mentality is there. You have infrastructure. Millennials, an interesting generation. There's a shitload of us. We were touted as Generation Y, as in WHY, as in why bother? Why even do it? Obviously, it's after X. It's a fucking word thing. Then we were called the net generation because the internet, right?
Yeah.
Then it was, okay, well, you're an extrennial because you're in between Generation X and millennial. That was clever. It's a micro generation. And then it was just your fucking millennials, and no one gives a shit anymore because of Gen Z. But there used to be all this kind of propaganda and hubbub about how millennials would say things like, I'm really driven. I want something to happen. I'm here. I'm educated. I'm rocking and rolling. I want to be the president right away. I don't want to do the work. Which is interesting. A lot of boomers had this as a problem. They're like, well, you don't do the work. You want to do the work to get where you want to go. Thing is, they said this because they had to. Right? Because in their minds, the way it works is you start at the bottom and you rise to the top.
And
if you pound the pavement,
if they didn't work, they wouldn't
get somewhere.
Yeah.
You pound the pavement and you get some. We'll just call them. We'll just call them. We'll just go down there. Just go down there. Talk to them.
Yeah.
This is the boomers. This is what they had to do.
Oh yeah. No, there's no internet.
That doesn't work.
The boomers never applied for a job online.
And they don't know. And they have a serious arrogance.
When I moved to Los Angeles, I faxed my resume. Like, I used a fax machine to send my resume to different places.
We still have fax machines. You want to know why?
Because the government still has fax machines.
I'm gonna blame someone. The boomers.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's probably because of the government.
Because that's the only way you can get a form to the DMV.
Speaking of faxes, is it actually deprecated is the wrong word. Is it a technology that is worth keeping around?
I mean, if you have a printer, what do you need a fax for? And the internet.
Well, but here's the thing. Okay, so the phone system is called the POTS system, and it stands for plain old telephone service, which is hilarious.
And it's also it is a national security thing, the phone system.
It is a massive infrastructure, kind of like how railroads used to be. Guess what? We got rid of those. So pulling up the POTS lines, for example, pulling up payphones, actually makes you a servant. Because you ain't got options. If you don't have one of these, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Think about this. I was looking out at the masses the other day.
On average, like $100, $50 a month. You have to have an income of $50 a month.
I was thinking about this. I was like, imagine the compliance, as the fuck from Pfizer said. Imagine everyone, 9 out of 10 people that you looked at, if you went up to them and said, so, Geeky Gamer Podcast, and they'd be like, oh yeah. Imagine that. That is the wet fucking dream mare of every SEO piece of shit out there. Just people knowing. Everyone has this. Everyone. That's amazing. And people are like, well, yeah. That's amazing, y'all. It's amazing. Everyone has a car? That's amazing. Just imagine getting people to do one thing. Like, hey, will you come to my party? Hey, will you like
$200
and subscribe? Hey, will you do anything?
You've built in another $200 a month.
Happy.
Everybody has to pay $200 a month for their car. I mean,
it does
I'm
not
guessing, is that close to what a car costs a month? $200?
A car? I think a car costs, depending on where you live, around $6,000 a year.
Yeah,
depending on the car and average and such.
Like if you own a car, if you own the car. Yeah,
if you own it.
Brand, is it that much?
I think so.
I don't think my car doesn't cost that much. I mean,
how much you pay? But you got to calculate gas.
Yeah, I don't pay much for gas because I hate driving. So I mean, I probably pay $150, maybe $200 a month at the most. Okay. And
let's call that $2,000.
That's because I drive from.
Right. So on average,
you got to drive to a different city.
The average person, right? Let's say
I couldn't drive to a different city if I didn't have a car. Not in Kentucky. But go ahead, imagining.
So that's $2,000 of gas, roughly, a year. Okay, and what do you pay roughly in insurance?
I don't know. It's a good question because it's all rolled in with the house, the home.
It'll be $1,000. That's what it is, roughly.
So $3,000.
Yeah, and then you have your taxes on your car.
Which is not much because my car's worth. I have a Toyota Corolla from 20 years ago. Or no, Camry. I don't even know what brand car I have. No, it's Corolla.
It's a Camry.
I don't care.
This is model. It's a Toyota.
Yeah.
Right. So you're around $3,000 or $4,000. Yeah. Okay. So what about your tires? You don't have to change them every year.
Yeah, tires. I spent $1,000 on tires, and I spent another $1,000 on a thing that I didn't know what the hell it was because I went to the.
Hey Ken.
Yeah.
That's about $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know.
God damn it. I mean, I don't like saying
I'm an asshole.
Right. I really don't.
Yeah, I hate being right too. I hate being right because I'm always thinking about negative things.
Yeah.
And I am wrong. I am wrong in a lot of ways.
Okay, so that's
$6,000
plus you've got another what? How much for a phone a year? Is it $50 a month? So it's
No, most people are paying $100. I pay 30 or 40 because I use Red Pocket. We're not getting sponsored by them, but they are really good. It's called a Red Pocket.
Is that why you don't get text messages sometimes?
I mean, it's pretty good. I always do. There is a confluence of bad usages of words that I'm using. Don't worry about it. It's not the greatest. It's just cheap. $30-$40 a month. I think most people are dropping 100. Easy.
I went for a couple of years from the aughts, the early something, the teens. I just used Skype.
I had a pager.
And no cell phone. I had no cell phone until
you didn't need one.
I got a cell phone in 2013.
You actually until let's see.
And I got it because my job told me I had to have a smartphone.
Right. So I went back to school in 2010 as a non-traditional student, right? And they were like, you need a laptop. And I was like, why? Which is hilarious. They were like, you need when I went to school the first time, they said you need an email address. And I didn't have one. I mean, like I did. I had like an AOL or whatever. But I was like,
how did you get an AOL?
Because my dad, when the internet came out, the way we accessed it was through AOL.com or through America Online. It wasn't AOL, it was America Online.
Yeah.
We used web crawler and all that shit.
I never had no AOL. I was always like, that's a bad idea. I mean, $20 a month when I paid for Net Zero, which was $0 a month.
Well, the thing is that all of that rapidly changed. And granted, this is my teenage brain, but it all changed very quickly. Like, I remember using dial-up and seeing the timer, and it literally counting change like a long distance call used to be. But that ended, and then it was suddenly, oh well, we're just paying a flat fee to be online, and then you're hemmed in by your baud rate on your modem. And that's when the chat stuff, all that crap, because that's all you did on AOL. You got mail, and then you got on chats, and you really didn't use web crawler, because it's like most websites, it's just a bunch of goofs who put on a bunch of crap. Like, there was no videos, there's none of that bullshit, and it took forever to download that shit. So it didn't become popular, at least in my world, until what the fuck was that called? Napster. And then it was suddenly viable to you use the internet to get something. Other than that, it was I didn't really use BBSs or IRCs because it was a little before me. But we used it for like Command and Conquer and like, you know, little games that you played online, fucking StarCraft. But really, I didn't start using the internet until Napster, and then you had torrents, and then boom, MySpace. And with MySpace and Facebook, that was suddenly, oh, we're online. Prior to that, literally not at all. I remember Facebook, someone threw down a Facebook event, and 200 people showed up to our party. And we were like, what the fuck just happened? Because people used it, and we're like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is amazing. What the fuck?
It's over.
But no one had this. I had a rich friend who had one of these.
Yeah,
we were like, why the fuck do you have that fucking... Why'd you have that phone? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Norm was my rich friend that had one of those.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was cool. And you were like, oh yeah, I mean, you have that phone, but what if you drop it? It costs a lot. Who wants to be online all the time? What the fuck? You did not need a phone is my entire point. Until I didn't have a phone, not really, until I got back from communist China.
Nice.
In like, I don't think I had one until 2017.
Well, I had a flip phone.
Yeah, I did not have this until 2017.
I got a flip phone in 2001, like the cheapest phone I could have. And then by 2008, I didn't want to pay $80 a month.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to do it. And so I went to Skype, and it was free.
For a while.
For a while, until it wasn't free. And then I stopped having Skype. But it was about that time when, you know, now I have Google Voice now. I never use it. Except,
yeah, you have to use it every so often because they'll destroy the number.
I use it.
Yeah.
Just to text myself to keep it from going away. I use it mostly for my resumes.
That's so yeah. Yeah. That's a really good idea. The thing is, there's a couple things. One, I think you can find out that it's Google Voice, and it's one of those things where like people get all weirded out. They're like, oh, that weird number. Oh, it's like Google Voice. What are you trying to hide? Or something.
You think so?
That's kind of the feeling that I've gotten from people.
And I will say that number to people who want to have my number. Like, not like people I meet on the street, but like just random.
Wait, do I have your number? Google.
Yeah. I'm looking for my Google Voice right now. I
use it for work. For the freelance, the bartending thing that I do, or that I'm starting, and that kind of stuff. Because the thing is, my phone number and the email addresses and all that crap, there's a point where like it's already out there, it's already sold, it's already, you know, blah. And in my mind, the best security practice is just move your sensitive information off of it.
Mhm.
So like all those email addresses and phone numbers and shit that are out in the world that are mine, they're not attached to anything that actually matter anymore. I mean, there's ancient information which people could mine if they really want to get my $100. You know.
Sure. You just said something though that I kind of really appreciate. It's a very Generation X thing to say. You said something about starting your own business.
Oh yeah, that
Do
whole thing.
millennials do that? Is that a
Yeah,
thing millennials
yeah.
do?
So millennials are their own business.
They're so basically I'm as a Generation X because I'm a very young Generation X. I think I was 3 years, maybe 4.
You're a late Gen Xer.
Yeah, I'm a late. You know, I've been freelance basically my whole life and had very little employment opportunity.
Yeah,
and
right.
and I, you know, don't even try anymore. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah, it's worthless.
It's you know, apply with a resume.
It is indentured servitude, is what it is.
It is not a thing, and they don't pay. Like when you get the job, you get a full-time job. I mean, you might get some benefits, but
if you got into it, you got into it, and that's the thing. So I was in computer science with one of my buddies back in the day, and I quit. It's not because I can't program. I can, but I quit. It was at a time that computers were such and programming was such that it just wasn't interesting. This is prior to social media, prior to the web development boom, boot camps and all that stuff. And in fact, I got back into programming when all that came about to do software development, and it's much more interesting. My buddy continued, got hired on at IBM, a few other places, did network administration, and eventually just kind of became this ninja at specifically networking. And to elucidate the people that don't know how the internet works, which is like 95% of everyone, basically at a really big event, you have complicated routers like at your home. Yep. And those routers actually have to be programmed. There's another thing called a switch. So a switch and a router work in conjunction. At home, that device you call a router is actually more than just a router. It's several things. At a big event, you have them spread out, and it's not all in one idea. And he can configure that shit. And he has this awesome career doing it and making plenty of cash. He knows all these people, industry things. He's a leader in that stuff. I've got a few friends that are like that in their various careers. Holker, for example, is a goddamn ninja at what he does. Sure. So it's not that there's no opportunity or that there wasn't opportunity. It's not that you can't do it.
Sure. But specialization is what one of the things I struggle because I don't live in Los Angeles, because I have a very high specialization technique for a resource that they need out there, and I can find jobs and work out there, but maybe not now, because like
no, you would things you're too good at it. You're too good at it.
Things move fast, and I keep up with this stuff even today, but still things move so fast, and you know, I got a loop deck recently, and I learned how to do a lot of, but it's like I was doing it with the keyboard before, like you know, I got a switcher. It's just, it's endless. But what an editor is in Hollywood is also a social media person, and
that's what I'm talking about.
There's 100 different tasks that you have to do beyond just cutting some stuff together.
So you just said, you had just mentioned, I said a very Gen X thing, which is creating your own business.
Creating your own business. I think Gen X, or at least, you know, it's funny, it might be a very millennial thing. Gen X, I think, for the most part, they got jobs. They did not. So it is a very millennial thing, creating your own business.
So
I just come from a family of people who started their own business, and that's because
which is great. Which is great. That mentality is awesome. I came from a family that had a middle class mentality. And what that means is not how much money you're making. Middle class mentality is not about how much money you're making. It's about how you think. And to create your own business is too risky.
that's true.
What I'd said was that's the middle class mentality, by the way. What I had said was millennials are their own business. So sorry, I'm got a cold and I got to put on some stuff on my nose.
And you have a cold
It's okay,
because you were made to do something.
I wasn't made. I chose to.
You chose to make money instead of instead of not make money in the rain. Sure, I get it. Not given proper adequate.
I can go places with it. And you know what? I don't know if it serves anyone for me to bitch about it.
Yeah, middle class versus.
I don't know.
Hey, but middle class ended with Gen X. I mean, millennials don't have a middle class anymore. You're either.
We are the product. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
We are the product. We are the consumable. So when I get online and I do this, or I do Chess with Bill, or I do, or we do Dreadlord live play, or I apply to cybersecurity jobs, or I go apply for a bartending gig, or I try to promote my own bartending business, Hearst Bartending. How many ever plugs I need to throw down? It reminds me of Idiocracy. Literally everything has a logo on it. Well, what's your SEO? What's your search engine optimization? What tags are you using? Oh, those are deprecated. You know, literally everything is a curated you that's virtual under hundreds of profiles, these virtualizations of you. And then some fuck all boomer or Gen Xer looks at you and says, well, you just need to pound the pavement. Well, you just need to make better decisions. And it's like, you don't fucking know what you're talking about. Actually, they do. They're right. They're right.
You need to get lucky. The answer is you need to do that and get lucky. Buck Mud said, canceled what's been canceled.
I'm going to let you answer that.
Well, I feel like we've been canceled. But no, our guest tonight canceled. So we thought, but
apparently had a.
It's more than just a guest. It's a whole lifestyle. It's a lifestyle of like, what are we doing? What's the point?
Shit happens. Shit happens. I'm not disparaging the person for canceling. They canceled when they had to. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna say this because why the fuck not? You know, fortune favors the bold, Ken. You know, you wouldn't cancel on Joe Rogan.
That's wrong.
Would you cancel Joe Rogan?
I think he puts out some bullshit. I mean,
no, that's not what I mean.
Everybody puts out bullshit.
If you had an audience on Joe Rogan, if you were a guest on Joe Rogan and your flight got delayed, would you cancel Joe Rogan?
Probably not. No, I would be on it.
Okay. You would find a fucking way to be on there.
Yeah, I would be on it.
And here's the thing. What you do to the smallest of us, you do to the greatest. That's a biblical reference, too.
Is it
the
true?
idea of... Yes. One of my father's sayings back in the day was, when you go on a date with someone, in my case, a girl, but when you go on a date with someone, I don't know why I felt the need to qualify that.
What's that like? I haven't been on a date in 8 years.
When you go on a date with someone, a litmus test is, how does that person treat the waiter? As
No,
in,
it's true.
there's the obvious.
True.
And then the second thing, and I think this is from a movie. I think it's from a movie. When you get in the car, you let so-and-so into your car. And then when you walk around, do they lean over and unlock the door for you? I'm pretty sure that's from a movie.
Yeah, it's a thing that people did. It's called class. And so if like you open the door for the girl that you took out on a date, or chivalry, like you could tell if they liked you if they leaned over, unlock that door. I mean, it's super old school way of thinking. I mean, it's like walking on the outside of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
With the girl.
Yeah.
Or woman, a female.
So my lady friend, she was like, just one day she was like, because my car, the little fob thing, it died, so I just used the key because I'm old school. And I'll come up and I'll unlock the door and then walk around. And she was like, "Why don't you open the door? Why do you go through the process of unlocking my door in the rain so I can get in, but you don't open the door?" And it was an interesting conversation to have. What is the purpose? It's raining, so you unlock their door so they can get in first, so they're not sitting in the rain while you go around. But then why didn't I also open the door? And I think the reason was, for me to open the door for someone is a different act than me unlocking the door being considerate. There's a different consideration.
It's like they're helpless.
I don't know. It's chivalry versus consideration.
I opened the door for my grandmother because she has difficulty opening doors.
But if you get to the door first and you're with your lady friend, would you open the door for her?
I don't. I use my little clicker and I unlock the door.
No. Let's say to a restaurant. Let's say you're going out on a date.
I try to get there first. I do. I try to get there first.
And I think that's where my lady friend was talking. She was like, why are you not doing this thing? Because it's like you got to the door and you unlocked it and you're like, okay, you can open it. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't know why I didn't open it. Because in my mind, it's two separate things. Mm-hmm. Me opening the door is, my lady, there's chivalry. Versus me unlocking the door is, hey, look, I don't want you sitting in the rain. It's a consideration. I don't know. Buck Mud says, if you kick me in the pills, you kick your brother in the pills. Boom.
Is that a song?
Yes,
I've not heard pills since. I've not heard that as an acronym. Yeah, the balls. Yeah,
the bowels.
Dick.
Yeah, he's just referencing.
My girl doesn't like it when I say penis. She's like, why not? Don't say it. I don't know. Maybe it's too scientific. She wants some cock. She wants some dick. No penis.
I'm to be okay. It's fine. There's no problem there. Here's the thing. People can have their hang-ups, and that's okay.
I'm working on it.
It is okay.
I really love the word cunt. I've loved the word cunt for a long time.
Listen, if you're going to say it, you have to pronounce the T.
I did. I think I did.
No, you didn't. You said it like all Kentucky, like you're like, cunt. No, it's cunt.
Yeah, well, I'm at my grandmother's house. I'm trying not to be too.
I see. See, you can't go halvesy, man. You can Sure.
Anyway, I mean, I'm working on my, I don't like sexualizing insults.
Why not?
It just doesn't seem like, because gender, people are assholes. Everybody has an asshole, They're not dicks. They're not pussies. I mean, they're dicks. I mean, just because I have one,
dicks and pussies too. They're dicks and pussies.
But I mean, they mean something. That has a different meaning. If you're a dick, that means you're kind of like a shithead, and If you're a pussy, it means you're like afraid.
You're weak. It means you're weak.
You're weak.
So if you're a dick, it means you're a jerk. You're acting cocky.
But I mean, a jerk is kind of a dick thing to do.
Wait, here's the thing though. And this is a bunch of shit that nobody wants to hear.
They don't want to hear us talk about it.
They don't want to hear anybody talk about it, and they can rile against it just like I rail against it. They can rail against it just like I can rail against how I can't get a job because I'm a millennial and we've been in a 20-year fucking war, and every time that millennials get up on their feet, oh, guess what? There's another bust from some fucking asshole. Yeah. I can rail against that till the cows come home. But the thing is, what's the solution? Here's the thing. If someone calls you a dick, you know what it means. If they call you a pussy, you know what it means. So we can argue about the language. You know what it fucking means. Now, do we need to change the language? You need to improve society? Sure, improve society. Rock and roll. Don't do it by becoming a fascist and trying to police everything, because that will lead to bad. Yeah. It'll lead to bad, you motherfuckers. Sure.
Well, and both the far left and both the far right are absolutely fascist. Because when you get into absolutes, you're wrong. But yeah, so how many busts have there been? When I entered the workforce, I think it was around 2000.
2000. I remember.
As soon as I walked in, it was a bust, and then in 2001 there was a bust.
So you're talking about the.
2008 there was a bust.
Hold on, wait. People don't know.
Yeah.
You say it like you know because you were fucking there, because you were there. People don't know this shit, okay? They really don't fucking know, especially younger people and older people. So people older than you and me.
Yeah, because they
don't care. They don't care.
Because the boomers were not affected because they were already in whatever, they were
That's
in.
The thing. They're already fucking set up. They already sowed the wild oats, hitchhiked across the fucking country, blew their wads, did all the bullshit they wanted. Then they were able to go get set up. Guess who's not?
In their 60s at the time. 50s, 60s.
Yeah, motherfuckers. Yeah, they're goddamn cannibals is what they are. Anyway. And Gen Xers aren't much better, I'm just going to say. Sorry, guys.
I was in the most debt that I'd ever been when the bust happened, like with no jobs and no perspective. I lived in an apartment in Los Angeles with 4 other people, sometimes 5, and it was a 1-bedroom apartment. That's and it was funny. I had this thing worked out where like people would go there and sleep at night, and then they would go off and do whatever. It was my apartment, and I had like 4 or 5 edit bays in there that we kind of slept around, and a whole different group of people would come in and edit some nonsense.
Yeah.
And that
were you in the arts district? Where were you?
I was in Beverly Hills.
In Beverly Hills?
I was in West Hollywood.
But it was pretty, was that bohemian at the time?
I mean, it was very bohemian. It was very hippie-like, I have to say. There was a lot of people.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore.
Is it?
No,
my old neighborhood, my apartment that was $900 a month is now close
like
to
$35.
4,000.
Yeah, West Hollywood is some bullshit right now.
Yeah.
So just to stay on topic really quick. The internet bubble burst. Yeah. 99, 2000.
Yeah.
Okay. 2001 was 9/11, which a lot of people forget.
Mm-hmm. Not me.
Why is that such a big deal? Well, because a third of my generation decided to go to war. That's first.
Yeah.
That's our Vietnam.
Yeah.
And people will be like, "Oh God, no, it's not. We just haven't made the fucking movies about it, y'all." Vietnam lasted 10 years officially. Call it 15.
20.
Uh,
20 is
the bullshit we're talking about.
Yeah.
20 plus years.
Yeah, 20. And it's still going on.
Technically, still going on. So all of you can go to hell. Okay. Right. So 2001, huge deal, huge zeitgeist change. You've got a ton of my generation and Gen Xers as well who went, but my generation who decided to delay getting into the workforce for 8 years.
Yeah.
Guess what happens 8 years after 2001? Or ish. 2008, as Buck Mudd just mentioned. And here's what happened in 2008. If you were a Gen Xer and you were, trying to have your career around 98, 99, 2000, and it just got demolished.
They did.
Then you finally got on your 2008. Sorry.
Yeah, I was my whole career was shit on, and it wasn't until 5 years later. It was 2013 before I got any reasonable amount of work.
And that's the thing. So 2008. Hopefully you're not one of the people who got just utterly fucked, although everyone's finances got
I was close.
Utterly fucked.
But basically, they were trying to sell me a house in 2008 in LA, and that was the highest at that time that the housing costs were ever.
Right.
And I was like, if I bought a house now, I don't know if I'm employed next month. I'm gonna lose a bunch of fucking money.
Which a lot of people did.
And they were like, no, they're just giving out loans, like it's nothing, and you just pay it as you want. It's like as you, and I think it was shitty loans that people.
No, they're crooks. They are crooks, and they knew. The people that the real estate agents that were pieces of shit.
They knew. They got their commission.
These motherfuckers knew.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get into something that a lot of people have forgotten. My previous flame had no idea about.
Wasn't there another .com bubble, or was that was the one that was in 2000? That was 90.
The biggest one was the Buck Mudd knows about this.
Yeah.
The .com bubble, I believe it was 99 2000.
Yeah, I think that was. But I think there was a second one. Or
there may have been. Regardless, Occupy Wall Street.
Oh yeah, that was some bullshit.
Occupy Wall Street was the first time that millennials actually did anything, and in typical millennial fashion. Like, people don't know what it is. Seriously.
I know what it is.
My previous lady friend.
I'm doing it.
She was like, what are you fucking talking about? And I literally was like, get on Google and just type it in. And she was like, what the fuck is this? This happened? This was a thing? I was like, yeah. Were you there?
No.
I was gonna say, why didn't you tell them to do something?
I was definitely not there. Occupy.
What are you drinking, by the way? I'm drinking Woodford. What are you drinking?
I was working. I'm working our favorite.
You doing Evan Williams?
Yeah, the poor man's good bourbon. I was working at the time. I actually had a job. I had a 70-hour-a-week job. I was working as a journalist, so we covered what was going on. But I mean, the whole point of being a journalist is, like, you don't dictate like what other people do. I thought it was an interesting thing, but they didn't have a message, and so
they were mad. They were mad.
I mean,
they were mad. They were mad because of what we just said.
Yeah.
They realized, in a way, in their livers, but not their brains yet, that they were fucked, and that in fact they were gonna have no voice whatsoever. Now, people will be like, "Oh, poo-poo on you." Here's the thing, y'all. Doesn't matter. That's what it is. You have an actual generation of people. Of course, there are exceptions. 4 out of 5 of my friends, we're all fucking deadbeats.
Yeah.
We're fucking deadbeats. That's what we are. We have lots and lots of potential, but we have not been given a fucking chance.
Yeah.
Oh, poo. Yeah, well, go fuck yourself because you did not go through it. Buckmud has something to say. You want to tell it?
Oh, they came. Oh, in 2008. Is that where we were? Where are we?
That's
It
fine.
came in a few bubbles. The big one was in 2001. So we said that.
It had its
and-
first experience by replaced by an app.
I mean, it's true. I mean, we were talking about this last week on the GGP about how I guess Web 3.0 is coming.
God, yeah. Well, it's already
And-
here, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
exactly, yeah.
it's here in Amazon, Facebook.
Yeah.
It's coming in. Anyway,
People really need to understand. What do they really need? They don't need to do. People don't need to do anything. It's like driving down the highway, and your little map thing says, "Oh, there's a wreck up front, and it's going to take you 2 more hours," and there's nowhere to go. Sometimes you just have to go through it. I think Gen Z is in a better position. I just wrote a short film literally about this, which I sent to you.
yeah, right. I said it needed
and
more detail.
And well, it's gonna be a feature, and you can help me if you want to fill it out.
I'm happy to help. Let's make it. I want to make it. I got all this time. I might as well be making a film.
Yeah. So, whatever is after Gen Z, which I don't know if they have a name for. I think we'll actually.
They don't have a name. They don't have a name
switch
because it's not going to happen.
To switch it up, I actually am very optimistic about that generation, which is actually my nieces and nephews and such.
I'm not.
I actually think that they're going to have a very good time. I think that we have been in the last generation, my fucking generation, in a huge downswing, and I think we're going to go into a huge upswing.
Based on what? On what?
Well,
Where's the optimism. I mean, Generation X was hopeful. That was our.
But it wasn't.
We were
Generation
sardonic.
Alpha is what it's called. Generation Alpha.
Is it Alpha?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they're going to have a really good chance, and I think the reason is because
the next 20 years, the next 20 years, the solar ice caps are going to melt. So they're going to be like generation. What was that? What was that film where like all the weather kind of destroyed the world? Great Expectations. I don't fucking know what the name of that film was. But we're in a crisis of where a lot of food isn't going to grow. Inception is a good example. You know, monoculture.
You mean Interstellar?
Interstellar, yeah. Inception's where they keep going inside of the brain, smaller and smaller. And so ridiculous.
No, I don't think it's going to be there. I think we're going to go in a good direction. Now maybe this is my religious upbringing. Maybe it's that little bit of me that, likes to believe in magic. But the idea that we are coming to, I think we can agree, we're coming to a point that at some point it's a breaking point. People actually have to make decisions because the proof is in the pudding. Because the solar ice caps. Because there's no more floss. It's like Alan Watts used to say, I think in the 70s, you can see it on YouTube, him talking about climate change and all these things. He's like, hey, look, there's going to be a point we're not going to see it, where our children's children, hey, we're here now, are going to have to deal with our sins. And the thing is, we will have to deal with it, but in 10 years, I think things happen. And I believe in the Star Trek of humanity. I think that we will survive. I also like Elon Musk. Everyone can go fuck themselves. I think we should go to Mars. And yeah.
I mean, we're
going to rise.
It's easy to have big ideas when you're a billionaire. I mean, just
also,
imagine
the Earth is flat, clearly.
If you had, okay, let's change it. If you had $20 million, I mean, somebody just said, here's $20 million. You're going to do a bunch of shit.
I don't know what I would do with it.
Yeah, you would do some stuff. I mean, I doubt you would just decide.
You know what I would do? You know what I'd do?
Podcasting would be great, and
You know what I would
just
do?
sit in your apartment all the time and podcast all day long. I mean, that I doubt that would occur.
You know what I would do?
What would you do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's because I have the mentality of someone who does not have $20 million.
Yeah.
Someone who has $20 million would use it however they use it. What
They
would I
would
do?
invest
I'd be like, okay, well, what debts do I have? What debts do my family have?
But,
Ba, ba,
but
ba, ba, ba.
ultimately, like if you were a person that had $20 million, you would invest it. You wouldn't put it into the economy. You would
Invest
put
it in
into
what?
yourself.
Invested in what?
In the stock market and
No, I wouldn't invest in the stock market.
Yeah, but
that's assuming the stock market is going to last.
That's what people with $20 million, they invest it into themselves a lot of times.
I would buy half of a house in Los Angeles with that $20 million.
You can still get a house in Los
You want to do buck mud?
Yeah, you do it. You
No, I keep on talking. I want you to talk.
Where should I start? Generation Alpha is the next generation, but we already covered that. X was not hopeful. You're right, X isn't hopeful. I was being sarcastic. Buck Mud also said, we are confused. We believe what we were told to do in order to be useful and successful. It was wrong, and we ended up being Kurt Cobain before the sad stuff.
Yeah.
I always kind of followed my dream. Like the reason, and I'm sure of this. The reason I don't have $1 million in my bank account right now is because
I do, obviously.
Or 20 million is because I followed my own passion. I thought I could make something of myself.
Yeah. What were you thinking? You were thinking what Buck Mud just said. You believed. I believed it.
Yeah.
You believed the boomers' bullshit. The boomers fucking lied to you. They lied to you. You know why they lied to you? Because in their context, it was true. You can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to be.
If I was 5 years older, my experience would be different.
Yeah. Go out, hard work, go do it. America's going to win, blah, blah, blah. This is what they believed because that was the world. Even though they had Vietnam, still America was going to win. They had enough, what's the word? Hubris. For America. God, this is terrible for me to say, but I'm going to say it. They had enough hubris for America to be at a war in Vietnam. And for them to turn them, by the way, the boomers, by the way, them to turn on the military. It was them. So all those fucking make America great again pieces of shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All you motherfuckers, the boomers, the Trump people, they were the ones who spit on troops. Go fuck yourselves. It's all out of context. I'm just gonna get angrier and angrier this entire time.
Yeah, that was a different direction that I was expecting you to go in. I expected you to go in just a slightly different direction than this one.
It fucking pisses me off.
Yeah,
it pisses me off because people take things out of context. I have got a lot of sympathy for the boomers.
Yeah.
Like I said at the very beginning, boomers and millennials are very similar. There's a mentality that's actually, the context is different, but the mentality is actually very similar. It's you start out and you can do it. You can make it through hard work. You can achieve it. And lots of bad shit starts happening. We have a Vietnam style thing. We have a depression style thing. We have a huge civil rights style thing. The entire Me Too, woke, BLM, et cetera, all of this is a huge civil rights thing in the middle of our age. We're very similar to the boomers. But there's a big contextual difference. Look at 4 or 5 out of millennials and see what they're fucking doing. See who's serving you at your fucking Panera Bread.
Well, we are a service economy. There's truth to that. There's not.
You are a service economy with the millennials as your servants.
Yeah.
The millennials are your servants.
I feel like I'm old enough and just lucky enough to be able to go to a restaurant, and I feel like I don't think it's a bad thing to go to a restaurant and have a nice dinner. Like, I don't know if that's you have to do the next bit. I think that keeps, people who, if that restaurant closes down, if that infrastructure closes down, it just becomes another void. I think we are in danger in our society of becoming a ghost town everywhere. Like, we don't want to leave our houses. We become agoraphobic.
You know what it'll be? It'll be a ghost town. It'll be a ghost town. Let's paint a picture. What does that ghost town look like?
It looks like a ghost town with a Dollar General.
It looks like a mall. It looks like a fucking mall. It looks like an outdoor strip mall. There's all kinds of... There's
with the parking lot.
With the parking lot. You've got the fucking music going.
But no club. No, they're just like some dollar store bullshit. And no vegetables.
And somehow there's no... you've got all the... I'm thinking of Hamburg Pavilion right now.
Yeah.
You think... They've got all the fucking townhouses. They're all for rent. But somehow the rent doesn't go down. Yeah. Somehow the news says there's plenty of jobs.
Yeah.
Somehow the people who have money are like, oh my God, it's just so fucking easy. Buck Mudd says this, and this actually applies, I think. We're talking about the boomers, didn't lie. They told us what worked for them because they assumed it would work forever.
Yeah, because we the economy and their way of looking at it would just grow and grow and grow.
Right. We won.
That was the myth.
We won. We got out clean, assuming.
And it doesn't take
the thing.
It doesn't take into account like so much of what makes the world actually work. You have to hire people to do that, but it's bad for the economy to have 4% unemployment. Like, you make your business actually get more profitable when you fire your workers.
So how this is a conversation that Jon Stewart had with, I can't remember what the fucking old guy's name was. Look it up. Jon Stewart interview with old bank guy.
Yeah.
Federal Reserve guy. And the long and the short of it is, he's like, okay, so to fix, the economy has to swing back and forth. To fix it, how do you do it? And this guy's like, well, essentially you have to lay people off, because that way there's more money, it starts to right things. And Jon Stewart's like, well, wait a minute, why are you making people that work pay for this? And the guy's like, well, what would you rather people do? The corporations to take less money.
Yes.
And Jon Stewart's like, yeah. And the guy's like, right, well then people like you and me, as in Jon Stewart and this guy who are rich,
very rich,
would be taking a hit. Are you going to say, honestly, you want Apple to take less money? And Jon Stewart's like, yes. Now, I'm not trying to bash Jon Stewart as the next president. Maybe he shouldn't be. Why would anyone take less than what they can get?
They have to be forced. They have to be forced. They have to be forced.
I can rail against it till the cows come home. It's not right. I'm an indentured servant, blah, blah, blah. But I get it. This is why I was saying, I don't disparage these people. I don't disparage the rich people in Bel Air that were like, oh my God, the fucking rain. While I'm literally standing in the rain making their fucking cocktails that they're not even going to drink. I don't disparage them for it. I really don't.
I do. And
they paid me to be there at that bar, and I'm there at that bar.
Okay, then let's take it and make it political.
Please
So
do.
it's the government's fault for not taxing them. It's the government's fault for not building up the infrastructure so that you know that money is dispersed in a way that builds up the economy for everyday people who are just getting by.
Here's a question. I'm gonna take this back a little bit, a little
The
esoteric.
old guy was Michael Bloomberg, but that's what fuck my
Was it?
That's what he said.
Yeah, he's a very polished human turd.
I mean, Bloomberg ran for president, and like everybody knows his name. His name recognition.
Yeah, I actually do know that name now.
And he nobody had any interest in voting for him, even a little bit. I think he ran as a Democrat, but like his name
Really?
sounds like Hindenburg, or
Yeah, it does.
it sounds like
Sounds like a fucking Hindenburg.
You know, if Soros
Like a
ran,
blimp fire.
yeah, if George Soros ran as a Democrat for president, like I don't know if he could or not, but I mean he got the same amount of percentage of the vote because the left doesn't think that way. They don't need an oligarch. They don't need a billionaire to follow them.
The right does.
The right does, absolutely. But then again, like the right does a very good job of social issues, whereas you would think that the left would be good at, you know, building people up, but the right, I mean, that is amazing what they can do in firing people up, like at their core, with religious and social values that are bullshit for sure, but you know,
So here's the thing. I'm gonna take this back.
Sure.
Are stories important for humans? And why?
No, we don't care about stories.
And why?
Because we are instantaneously gratified at this point. Like, when was the last time you watched a movie and didn't sit scrolling through your phone? I'm not saying you yourself.
I never do it. I never do that. As in, that doesn't apply to
check
me.
your phone like 6 or 7 times. I know that I have to force myself not to, and it is an addiction. We are an addicted society.
Yes.
So
Right, but what are we addicted to?
we are addicted to moments.
We're addicted to stories.
We're addicted to moments, not stories.
I'm not talking about.
Stories have a beginning, middle, and end. So what is a story? A story is something that introduces an idea, and then it kind of works it out.
I disagree with you.
Something
I disagree
happens,
with you.
and
I
then
disagree.
then it-
100%. Here's a question, Ken. Sum up the Bible. Go.
it started like a lot of stuff happened, and then it ended.
Yeah.
Beginning, middle, end.
What is the story of? You're such a contrarian. What's the story of Little Red Riding Hood? Don't tell me the story. What's it about? Elevator pitch. You got 5 seconds to go.
Girl walks through forest.
Yeah, that's it.
Your grandmother.
That's the story.
girl-
Hey, what was it? What's the punchline? What's the
She was
punchline?
stopped by
What's the
the-
punchline? What's the
But at the
punchline?
beginning,
What's the
there's a girl
punchline?
walking
What's the
through the woods.
punchline?
Had to
That's
get to
what we want.
the goal.
We want stories. We want to know the tea. We want to know the drama. What's the drama? What's the drama? Hit it. Hit it. Hit it.
But I mean, it's very short, I guess.
It
They're
doesn't
very
matter how
short
long it
stories.
is. Doesn't matter how long it is.
Like for instance,
Listen, busting a
What
nut
we
is
do-
busting a nut. Okay.
what
Boom.
we do on Monday nights with the role playing game, we
Nobody
take
gives a
real
shit.
time and we slow it down.
Right. It's like you're going past the gravity well.
We slow it down.
In fact, we think that if you're gonna watch and or listen to us on Monday night for Dreadlord Live Play, where we play the Red Writ,
why would anybody do that when they can watch
the Red
somebody-
Writ,
The Red Writ.
thank you, or Into Space, Into the Past, or whatever the fuck it is, on Monday night at 7 p.m. You fucking cunts. Listen to us on Monday. What the fuck's wrong with you, Jesus Christ? plebeians, listen to us. Anyway, in the event that you were to listen to us, you would hear us elongate reality to such a degree that you might need to play a video game while listening.
Just maybe. It's slower than real time. I mean, if you took the amount of hours that we've played that game, which is what, 25 episodes, multiply that by 3, and I love what Buckmud is saying. You would have more hours than if we just walked through real time.
Yeah, what will you read what he says?
Why do I have to read it? I'm not good at reading.
You are great at reading. Listen, people don't want to listen to me.
Like, it's hard for me to see it. It's like at a
But when I read it, God, I talk too much.
No, I think I was talking the whole time just there, and then I can respond to it. But I do
about Bloomberg. He is a tool of the highest order.
Yeah, he is a tool.
Bloomberg's POTUS campaign message was, elect me and I will fix things by keeping them the same.
Yeah.
At Ken, that is actually not a bad synopsis. That's actually pretty good. Of the Bible, I think he's talking about.
Yeah, it started and then there was some stuff that happened and then it ended.
I am farming carrots in Valheim right now. I admit it, Skull. Listen, do your video games. Look, okay, so Dreadlord, I'm gonna go there, Ken.
What's Dreadlord?
Ellipsis, dot. You were about to say. Sorry.
Okay.
You were about to say something.
I wasn't.
Also, Skull has one of those dumb A things, by the way, Buckmud. Just so you know.
Hard to make those little things.
You on a Mac? He doesn't have a Mac.
I got fed a compliment and like my brain washed away.
Oh.
You're getting ready to get on.
You said you agree with me. You said you agree with me.
On what? We just talked about 6 different things.
Yeah.
Give me some context.
Okay, so Dreadlord Live Play, our last game, which you guys, if you're not into listening to people game, then you were not going to like it at all. But if you are interested in fucking drama, then you'll love it. Also, that art is by Tim Roberts, by the way, who is also one of our patrons. Oh, it switched, because that's the dreadlore.com. One of my players, Andrea, was playing a video game while we were playing. Now,
we said we were not going to talk about this.
No, but I'm going to say it. Here's the thing. While it hurt my feelings, it did. At the same time, my feelings are easy to hurt.
That's true.
Because I'm a big old bitch. Second, or I'm a big old dick. How about that? Secondly, I get it. I really do. So I've mentioned this dude several times. One of my buddies, I call him Niggles. For various reasons. He's a really good guy. He runs Dreadlore, and he ran a triumphant campaign, a Star Wars setting. It triumphantly exploded too, but that's another matter.
Sounded like a fun time.
It was a really, really fun game. It was honestly one of the better games that I've ever played. Been a part in, because I was not running, he was running, and the dude is such a good storyteller. Anyway, one of the players, who's a very good player, constantly had not just like, because we were in person, he had his phone out and would play games, those explosion games, on his phone. But I talked to Niggles at the time, and he was like, it's fine because that player is always listening. I'll give this to Andrea. Andrea was listening.
She was listening.
There was a point where I was like, oh my God, you're doing something else. But I get it. If you doodle, if you have to do your fucking taxes, if you got to play a game, some people are like that.
Yeah. If I wasn't doing this, I would be doodling. I promise you.
You need
if
something to do.
Yeah, if I wasn't
You
doing
need something
this,
to do.
for sure.
And I really, it got me, but I actually messaged her and I was like, hey, look, I get it. I really do get it. It's okay. What happened in that game, her character got blown up, quite literally, and severely injured. And I think it probably came off like some dungeon master angst. It wasn't voluntarily. It really wasn't because of that stuff. This is the social thing that we play. This is it. So yeah, if you want to get in on all this fucking drama, in game and out of game, Monday.
I just want to add something to your thought. I think that you were fine with that. It wasn't that she wasn't playing. She was playing a video game. She was distracted, and you noticed it. I think it was more like her husband was banished to hell, and she's like, I want to keep the merch. I want to keep the gear. So
that was the first part. That was the first part. I mean, I get it though. I get where she was going with it. She was like, look, I'm doing something else. She had already declared her intention. She was, so for people that don't know, because I'm sure all of you listen to the Dreadlord live play on Monday nights at 7 p.m. on Twitch. Her character was elsewhere in the room. She was somewhere else doing something else. Yeah. Actually, literally burning a body.
Yeah, she was in the process of burning.
So she wasn't trying to retcon, which actually is a metagaming boon. She was not metagaming.
Yeah.
She was saying, hey, can I use a game resource, which is meta, to affect that situation? Yes, you can. It's just in the situation, it came off like, really? That's the thing? Which I really ripped her on, but like for like 20 minutes. The thing is, though, she actually did not make a mistake there. She really didn't.
The funny thing is she never said that she went over there and picked up.
Oh no, she got it.
Oh,
did she not?
I don't remember that. I don't think she did. I think we never came back to that. So
I think she did. I think she did.
Oh well, maybe
we'll have to review. We'll have to review
to see
this past Monday night's game. See what happened. I think she did. Now she did not get the harpoon.
Part 2. She
didn't pick up the epic harpoon thing.
Yeah, one of the things about that game that I actually had a lot of issue with is that I think I was kind of knocked out of it for some reason. I wanted to investigate. I spent the whole day before thinking we really need to investigate this area.
Yeah, what did Nord do?
Nord ran into Rebecca, made out with her, just like that's what he does for a living.
You know what we should do? Okay. Man, I've got a good idea for next session. We'll see if I remember it. I think what we're going to do, it's not a flashback. It's a in the meantime, which I did for the startup, which is on Amazon Prime. You got to search for it. You got to go the startup web series, and you'll see several things. Meanwhile episodes. What was, while the action was going on, what was Nord doing? What was Tony doing? What was Simon? And that gives you guys, so it's out of the limelight moments to fill out, because we're actually at a point in that game, in the Red Writ. The Red Writ.
The Red Writ.
Oh, yeah. In that campaign, we're at a moment where it's a stopping point to go on. It might be interesting to go back. What were you doing? What did you want to accomplish before we move on? Because, dude, we're at like chapter 24 at this point.
Yeah.
Like in the book, this is a U.S. trade. We're going through how many chapters are there's like 26, 27 chapters. We're chapter 24. What did you guys do? Let's tie up some loose ends. This is a good idea. It won't make sense to anyone who's listening, but it's good. Okay, chat really quick. I'm farming carrots in Valheim. Valheim's probably a good game. My Windows machine cannot do it. Carrots take forever, and you have to use them in all the good food at this level. Man.
Well, his Windows machine can't do the umlaut or the whatever it is that.
It's not an umlaut. It's a little circle.
Yeah.
You need to do
little...
the Unicode or the
on...
ASCII.
Is it the on?
It's different though. If I'm on stage, then I'm on stage, but I'm just a chatter right now.
Yeah. Well,
bro.
I mean, I think he was talking about how, like, if he was in the game playing, he would be there and attentive, because that's what we were talking about, versus being, distracted by other things. I don't know. It's like being in class. So if I didn't scribble on a piece of paper, I get where she's coming from, but I definitely...
It's like being in class. Think about that statement for a second. Class is something you have to go to.
You don't have to go to class. You can fail out of class.
Yeah, you can also burn yourself. You can also stab yourself in the leg. You can also jump in a pool and not come out of the water. You can do a lot of things. You can. However, you are in class because you have to be. You have to be. You've committed to it.
You can play games in class. I feel like if there were cell phones...
Now they do. Dude, I went to school again in 2015, and everyone was on their phone. They were on their phones and on their laptops. They were dicking. Buck Mudd knows all about this. They're on their phones, everything. They're on social media, dicking around with Candy Crush or whatever the fuck it's called.
I graduated before they had laptops in classes. I graduated college before they had cell phones in school. Nobody had a cell phone when I was in college. Nobody. Like, literally
nobody.
You had to leave a message on somebody's answering machine on a landline if you wanted to, like, 24, the original 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. Like, that would have never happened if he had a cell phone. Huh?
Is there a new one?
No, the one that came out for season 1 at 24.
Oh, I see.
With the boxes, everybody was picture in picture, and it was like, oh, that's so advanced. Everybody's in picture in picture.
So here's a question. We talked about a lot of stuff. We bitched about a lot of stuff.
We haven't even started, really.
What do we do? I don't have enough cash to stay in Los Angeles. I don't have enough talent to make a movie that people want
bullshit.
to see.
I mean, bullshit. I say that's bullshit.
Oh, okay. So talent, let's define it. Does it matter how good of an actor you are? Talent? Or does it matter how good of a marketer you are? Talent.
I was listening to our potential guest for tonight that canceled on us. And
that one?
He had some pretty good advice about how to get your shit out there. And he was like, go to cons, you gotta step outside of your door, meet people, do things. And one of the things that you can't do where you are now is go to a con. But I've been to a con with you. We before, I think there was some lexicon or something. I don't think that's what it was called. But
no, that is what it was called.
It was it?
No, it was a comic, Lexington comic.
Yeah, whatever. It was lexicon as far as I was.
That's where you got me in trouble with Fantastic Negrito.
Oh yeah, no, and of course, when I enter a place and something like that, like, I think I just naturally cause trouble.
I love it. Which, by the way, let's give a shout out to. Is it or is it just Fantastic?
Oh, Fantastic Negrito? Yeah.
Oh, the music is great.
It is great.
Good performer. Such a good performer. And people have heard his music. Like, when I heard his music, I was like, holy shit, that's his music? I had no idea it was him.
Yeah.
Great shit.
I'm not supposed to talk.
Why
I
not?
just no, I'm not. We're friends. I can talk about Fantastic Negrito, but I'm not supposed
Yeah.
to talk about the time pre-Fantastic
Ah, I
Negrito.
see. I see. You can't talk about that.
I mean, and I think if it like he doesn't really care. I mean, I can talk about whatever I want, but
Yeah.
it when I
Check
started
out
talking.
check
Oh
out
yeah,
Fantastic Negrito online, guys. If you
yeah,
haven't, you should. It's
phenomenal
really
music.
good fucking
He's
music. Very
won
good.
3 Grammys.
Yeah.
He has friends that I would love to introduce you to that I'm not allowed to introduce you to because
That's fine.
they're
That's
in the
fine.
WGA and like
I
the
don't
whole.
I don't want to know anybody. I
But I
want
mean,
to sail into the goddamn ocean and never come back. That's what I want to do.
it's
Oh,
one of
Buck Mudd
those.
says his music is dope as fuck.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
he's fucking cool, dude. He calls me
Yeah.
because we're friends.
Is he in LA or is he elsewhere?
He is in Oakland, California.
Oh, he's in Oakland. I see.
The only
That's
reason I lived in Oakland for a little while is because he let me sleep in the studio.
no, he's
Crashing
awesome. One of the
super kind.
coolest, incredibly famous people I've ever met.
And we
very cool.
connected because we were pretty anti-establishment.
Yeah.
So
No, I love it. I love it.
You were talking about when we went to war in Afghanistan. Like we at that time were making a music video. This is the thing I can't talk about, but we were making content that was very anti-war.
Nice. Yeah, that was a big no-no at that time.
And it was a big no-no, and all of the media, not conservative, not liberal, all of the media, nobody was like, hold up one second, guys.
This is the thing. This is the thing that people don't know,
yeah,
and or they love to forget, or they just forget. Y'all, 2001, 9/11. Where were you, Ken?
I think I was still in college. I remember I was set to do a short film. My lead actor said they couldn't. They canceled on me. Like it was the day of shooting, or like a couple of days before we were going to shoot that Friday. But they said,
did they have a different flight or something? Is that what's going on? Or?
It was in fact very similar to that. They had a reality show in New York that they were going to be on. A reality show that what happened was it was like kind of a gotcha reality show. They got her. Like they got her bad. I think it ruined her career.
Oh shit. Shit.
She got what she deserved. It was like not what she deserved. Nobody deserves to be humiliated, but she was humiliated in this. And I think it was not unlike a Tom Green kind of thing or a Jackass where they like got her to take her clothes off, and like it really at that time,
Well, that was that time.
That time you couldn't.
As in that. What I mean by that
it hurt her career by doing that.
So first of all, some people should be humiliated.
Yeah, I was incensed, but it was like, oh, I can't make it Friday. Oh, you should turn on the TV. And it's Tuesday. It is a Tuesday, I think, isn't it? 9/11 was on a Tuesday.
Oh, I have no idea.
I didn't go.
It was during the week. It was during the week because I was on my way to class.
It was like 9:00 on a Tuesday.
It was early.
I didn't go to class until the Monday following. I was just like, I'm out. I'm done. It was devastating. It was a devastating event. I mean, if it was one plane, that's one thing, but the second plane, all of that shit, that was.
To be completely honest.
Fucking goddamn.
You ready for it? Are you ready for the honesty? I mean, I rolled down. I was in my dorm, which I can't remember the name of. Huh.
I don't remember the name of the actress that called me.
Yeah, I can't remember. It started with a K. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I rolled down. There was a big TV, like one of those big TVs, big screen TVs. And I saw it, and I thought it was a movie.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was. I was like, oh shit, what's that? It looked like Die Hard or something.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh shit, that's New York. And I was like, what? And they're like, oh, you know, it got attacked. And I remember thinking, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't pissed. I didn't really feel any emotion.
Sure.
I was just kind of like, oh, holy shit. I think my mind went back to being in 3rd grade and Operation Desert Shield.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. So we're at war. And I think my first thought after that was one of my very good buddies at the time, who I've not talked to in a long time, was Fancher. Fancher was in the Army. And I remember thinking, ah, shit. Because a couple years prior, when we were graduating, he had said he's going to go to the Army because he didn't think there was going to be a war.
Yeah.
And nobody did.
Sure.
Because we're stupid and we were 17, 18. And the entire point of me bringing this up was this.
And we hadn't been at war since Vietnam.
Well, officially.
It was strikes. It was little...
Right, you know, just explosions. The thing is this. At the time, I was very much into the Baptist Student Union. I was very much into the I'm going to go out and heal people thing. Which, you know what? If you're into that, great.
Heal them.
Fine. You know what? I hope it's real. Heal people,
disagree.
please. Heal people, goddammit.
Don't do it.
My deal was this. At the prayer meeting, because all classes were canceled, I was astonished by how much blood people wanted. And I don't mean the Baptists, I mean everybody. I mean everybody. Everybody. Y'all, everybody wanted fucking blood. I heard things like, turn those ragheads to glass. Okay, so people have a high and mighty idea of what we are. When you got fear going on, motherfuckers get medieval real quick.
Well, I was pissed because George W. I voted for Gore.
I voted for W.
I didn't.
That election, anyway. I was a W.
Didn't matter. We were both in Kentucky. It didn't matter.
No, it didn't matter.
I voted for Gore, and I was mad because I knew that second that we were going to war with Iraq. It didn't matter who blew up that building. It mattered that we were going to war.
Well, you were a little bit older, and you were obviously more politically minded. I'm still dumb, but I was very blinders on.
I mean, who really knows anything these days? We are in the days of misinformation. The second you think you know someone or something, unless you were there, the honest truth is you have no fucking clue. Like, that's the truth.
I guess what I'm trying to say is this.
Oh yeah, Nader had a big campaign.
Yeah, he did. I guess what I'm saying is this. We're gonna get through this.
I like.
And I think the next generation is gonna be better off. I think we're taking the bullet, man. I really do.
Nope.
Well, think about the 100 Years' War, dude. People have had it way rougher than we have.
Oh,
they have.
Sure. Well, the reason, the problem with your logic is everybody is too comfortable. Our society functions too well, and no one will do anything of any consequence until it doesn't. And it is.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Well, check it out. What are we doing? What can we do? What can we do?
I mean,
of the things we know about, of the bullshit we know about right now. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about? Of the shit we know about right now.
Yeah.
What can we do?
I mean,
what can someone do?
the answer is the smartest thing I could do is just turn all this shit off and walk away. That is the most.
But doesn't that suck? Doesn't that suck?
That is the most economically, ecologically good for the environment thing that I could do is just to shut it all down. And it is egotistical.
It's not.
It is egotistical of me to say that whatever bullshit that I think that we'll come up with.
It's not. I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, do that.
Real quick. Okay. Do you ever work out? I know you do. You're drinking water. I don't have any water.
Oh, yeah, I do. I try to work out. The only reason I didn't work out today is because we have the GGP, and it's funny that it's devolved into that, but yeah, so I do work out.
You do work out. When you work out, is there a point where you want to stop?
I mean, the older I get, yeah.
Yeah, why? Why do you want to stop?
Because I'm out of breath or feeling tired or something.
Yeah, it hurts.
It hurts.
But you continue doing it, why?
Because I know that it'll hurt more if I don't.
Interesting.
So yeah, this week, I mean, I've only averaged 6,000 steps. I don't get to 10,000 steps, which is pretty good for me. Considering that 6,000 steps is like 4 miles or something a day.
You keep on going, because you know it will hurt more if you don't. That's not the reason that I continue going. So that's a difference in opinion. Why do you keep on running or, pumping iron or whatever it is that you do? What do you do?
I'll if I'm at home, I've got a 20-pound weight I lift. Just when I'm sitting at my computer, so I can.
Yeah, you normally like.
It's,
I like it. It's kind of
for a
cool.
while. and then if I'll walk run. I try to run as far as I can, and then I gotta walk.
Yeah.
then I'll
keep going.
run a little more, and then I'll walk. But yeah, if I don't do that, like, I feel like shit. I just feel bad.
But is that why you don't do it, or is that why you do it?
That's why I do it.
Is it really the negative reinforcement that propels you?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I actually don't believe that.
A long time ago, you won't believe me, but I was a really heavy cigarette smoker. I smoked a lot.
No, I believe that. I believe that all day.
Yeah, and filmmakers were supposed to be heavy cigarette smokers, and that was a thing. I was to the point where I just didn't have any energy, and I felt like my lungs were gonna kill me, and I felt like I was gonna die.
But see, there's a difference there. There's a difference. You stopped smoking to feel better. This is.
But I was doing it.
Continue feeling bad so you feel good. There's a difference there. I'm saying, I'm not trying to convince you, but I kind of don't believe it. When you continue working out, when it hurts, you continue doing it so that you don't feel bad.
Well, it doesn't.
It's possible, but I don't believe it.
The way I work out is not. I'm not hurting. There's no hurting. I just go until it hurts and then I stop. Or
does it ever feel good?
It doesn't. It used to.
Not anymore.
When I was doing it more often, once I was a couple of miles in, I would warm up and you can go, and then now it's just and you get that little runner's high. That was kind of fun.
I've never had a runner's high.
It's just kind of
ever. It always sucks.
You feel like you're floating a little bit.
Yeah, it always sucks. There's. I'm not an addictive person. I have ADHD and I hate everything. Yeah. Buck Mudd says I work out for one reason and one reason only. I think I know what it is.
What is that?
Yeah.
So what do you work out for? What's your?
So I think working out is stupid. But when I do it,
I think you're in better shape than I am.
When I do it, I think I'm doing this to maintain myself. I'm doing this because I will feel better later. I am gaining something because I'm doing this. I don't think, well, later on I won't feel like shit, because if I had that mentality, I wouldn't drink. If I had that mentality, I wouldn't do a lot of shit. I wouldn't move to fucking Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have given up on so many fucking endeavors that probably would have made me okay.
You're supposed to fail.
I'm constantly thinking about the future and be like, oh, what if? That's my fucking drug. Hey, what if this GGP actually, maybe someone gives a fuck about it and listens to it. Oh, maybe they will. That's my drug. So it's always the carrot at the end of the stick. See, I'm a millennial. Buckmud says, this one time I caught this chick checking out my butt. I want that to keep happening because she was a total smoke show.
Yeah. It's funny. Did we talk about this? There was someone, I think it was Joe Rogan or somebody who was Joe Rogan adjacent in that mind frame area.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this with my girl about like dating websites, and I'm not into dating, and it sounds like it's worse than it was. I don't know. I
don't know anything about it.
But they were saying that 80% of the incels were like they would get no responses, and or not incels. I mean, guys were getting, and it was an attractive thing. Like women only went for the top 20%, whereas all women are getting. It's like 60% of women get more messages on these dating sites. And I just think of like me when I was on a dating site, I would just click on everybody because I wanted to meet people. So my standards were low. I mean, I wasn't dating these people, but they were low, and it was very rare that people would look at me. And I think that Buckmud's point is really interesting because you exercise, and that increases the ability for the opposite sex to be interested in you, because
I'm too selfish. I'm too selfish for it.
But you've always been pretty. So
I feel old and terrible.
Yeah.
And balding is what I feel.
What is that like? I don't know what it's like to feel balding.
I know what you mean, but I said I get where you're coming from. I'm not where you're coming from, but I get it.
I've seen the girls you date. You date some fine looking ladies.
My lady friend is really, really attractive. And very cool too.
And my lady friend
the cool is better. Is cool is better than the attractive. No, you're actually interesting and cool and quality people. And I think that's a thing that comes, maybe it doesn't come with age. It doesn't come with age. There's a thing that can come with certain people who are willing to connect to other people. I think that's it. When a person, regardless of their age, is willing to actually connect with someone, then you can have a really interesting time. And looks and that kind of stuff are not really what matter, because the connection you have with someone is what matters. The whole fucking point is the connection. It's not just the fuck. If it is, go do your thing. Yeah. It's not that great.
Yeah.
It's very empty and terrible. And there are so many plastic people.
Absolutely.
Cher is hot. Cher is fucking hot as hell. She's fucking like 8,000 years old. Yeah. It's all fake. You know what? If you dig it, then hell yeah, look at you fucking something that's hot. Good on you being plastic and absolutely abnormal. Connection is what it's all about. Now, then you actually get connected to someone and you have to deal with their life.
Yeah.
And then you have life to deal with.
And that's why cheating is difficult, because you have a connection with somebody and then you're looking for more connection. with cheating. And it
I just don't. I look at other people and I'm like, you know what? There are plenty of I'm in fucking Los Angeles. There are plenty of amazingly beautiful people.
Sure.
But dude, I want nothing to do with them.
Yeah. Well, they were pretty interested in having nothing to do with me. I really didn't communicate with a lot of women.
They don't want anything to do with me either, to be honest with you.
I would be standing with like some of my friends who are very attractive people, and I was blown away by I was standing next to this, Adonis of a fellow. Like 3-4 women would walk up to us, or like we couldn't walk around Runyon Canyon without people coming and stopping us, and they wouldn't look at me. Like I was like some weird sicko person next to attractive man.
Yeah.
And I felt like.
So you know what that is? You know what that's like?
Yeah.
That's like someone, imagine you're in a grocery store. I know it's awful, but imagine you're in a grocery store and you look over and you see a really hot person who you're interested in.
Yeah.
And they are salivating over the donut section.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and you look in their little cart and they've got donuts and they've got fucking pork rinds and they got goddamn like fucking ice cream. Sounds like a good time. Then you look over and you see an equally attractive person who's looking over the vitamin section or whatever. Just based on this, who do you go after? They have equal hotness.
Yeah,
you go to the person who's
vitamin.
healthy.
Yeah.
And the reason is because it's just better in all ways. Because we're not hashtags, goddammit.
But I knew this guy. I knew this attractive person. He had the personality of a
Yeah.
He was void. It was a void human.
They wanted donuts. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they wanted.
You can only eat 1 or 2 donuts. I'll eat 3.
Yeah,
you can't have more than 3, man.
There's truth to that.
They're pieces of shit. And you know what they look like now? Pieces of shit.
I mean, and
or older pieces of shit, which is the anathema of all of those people.
I would have been annoyed with them by the second or third date, or changed myself to react.
At least
I really
after the sex. I understand.
I really like what Buck Mudd said. I'll be honest. I like it when dudes notice me. I'm not prejudiced about that at all. That's great. I've been noticed many times, in the being having to go to like gay bars and stuff like that, because that's where the rave scene kind of started.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to a music venue.
Let's take a short break so I can get some water.
But I was just on a roll at a point.
Yeah, you gotta hold the point, like I've been holding the piss.
It's tough when they start wanting to dance with you. That is a tough thing. But I am flattered. I'm always flattered. I just don't want to be manhandled. But I'm flattered.
That's the worst music ever.
Not used to. Used to not. No.
Really?
Yeah. Are you kidding? I don't like.
No, I'm not kidding.
I don't like the booty music. It's like getting low. Everywhere is different. Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah, are you kidding me? I fucking hate gay music. It's the worst.
There's
fuck it. I hate it.
There's no such thing.
It's like 2 a.m. and you're just like, oh my god.
I like electronic music.
Yeah, electronic music is fine, but that music ain't. That's like we've taken too much cocaine and Fireball and we're ready to go. And I'm like, dude, calm down.
It's not a thing. I don't know what.
Buy me a drink.
Don't know what.
Let's see a movie.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Really? Well, go to Lexington. Go to Lexington, any gay bar, and you'll find it.
Go to any club anywhere that doesn't have the specific kind of music that you like, and expect it to have good music, and it won't. That's reality at this point in your 40s. As a middle-aged person, that's where we're at. So back in 10.
Yep, back in 10.
Lore drop.
Lord.
Okay, welcome back to the Geeky Gamer Podcast, where a couple of cis white dudes talk depressing shit that affects their daily life.
Affects their daily life.
Oh, dark days indeed. You know, we are here. You never know. I have to say,
Yep.
I feel like when I decided I was down and out, that's when I was down and out. And until I decided that there was always opportunity. But I decided that Los Angeles was not for me a long time ago, and there's very little opportunity. That being said, I've been called a couple of times saying, move back, we got a job for you. Doesn't happen often, but would I take it? Maybe. Depends on how long. Depends on what is needed. Would my partner like that? No. And would it be permanent? Probably not. But I've done jobs out there. I enjoy it out there.
I think visiting out here is fine.
Visiting's great.
Yeah.
I didn't like the traffic. I didn't like living near that many cars. That was like one of the things that I hated more than anything, because there's no place you could live in the city without having 6 lanes of traffic, 50 feet away.
Yeah.
At all times.
Right.
Like, how close are you to like Burbank, or what is the major
Really close
road that's near you? Do you hear
really
it?
Close.
Do you hear it? Do you feel it?
No, I'm actually I avoid the highways.
No, I'm just talking about where you live. Like, I lived up, most of my apartments, they were like just on the other side of Beverly Boulevard, or just on the other side. I lived on Santa Monica Boulevard, like literally on Santa Monica.
I'm in the valley. I'm in like the deep valley.
Yeah.
I'm in like in the cut.
Yeah. And that is a little more calm.
This place is wild because we call it the grotto.
Mm-hmm.
This is like trees and shit. Like, you're actually very isolated from all the hubbub, which is really cool. And I use my little Google Map thing, and I avoid all highways if possible.
Sure.
So I'm rarely on any of them.
You take Sepulveda. You take...
Oh, yeah. I take Sepulveda, I take Van Owen. Van Owen. Magnolia is what...
You take Laurel Canyon.
Yes. If you got to go over the hill, which is a fucking mountain, then, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Or Coldwater.
I take all of that shit, if need be.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting any jobs, so I don't really have to go in the Los Angeles proper.
Sure.
And when I do, I do.
Yeah, it's hard to find a job in LA. Like, it is so difficult.
I've had a rough time.
Yeah.
I'm looking for bar jobs and such, but
everybody.
I was telling Ken before we got on, my time here is likely measured. And I don't know what is next. I am unaware.
Canada. But I mean, I think you made a good point about Canada early on. Is they don't just let anybody move there. You have to.
They don't just let anybody in. They don't let. Yeah, people. Yeah. Let me rule them.
There's a strict code.
There's a code.
You have to adhere to.
The Canadian code.
I think that people do time in Los Angeles. That it is a matter of you put your time in. If that's the kind of thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a success or a failure at all. I think it's a daunting task of repeated, like, gut punches. It is a beast in and of itself, and there is a river that flows through the desert of Los Angeles that chews you up, spits you out, and some people can swim, but no one swims for long. Doesn't matter who.
Oh.
Like,
well, I'm just a big failure. That's my deal to Los Angeles. I don't know if it spit me up and chewed me out, or
how many things?
chewed me up and spit me out. Huh?
How many things?
What?
How many times have you acted in something?
Oh, like 3.
Yeah, that's. How long have you been in your current place where you're living at?
Since August.
So 3 and it's not a
like
great
6,
ratio.
8 months. That's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
When I first moved to Los Angeles, I worked at Radio Shack, which was very minimum wage and very not enough money to pay my rent. And I worked there it took me 6 months to get the job there. I actually worked at Tower Records before that, which paid about the same. Or after it, I can't remember. It felt about the same. I can't remember. Well, shit. I knew I worked there, but I don't know if I worked them both at the same time or at different times.
Yeah.
But it sucked. And it was the only way that I could stay is because I had, something that was meaningless and trivial. And I was there for a pretty solid year before I got my first music video, my first opportunity. And I fucking searched and looked and hit the ground, the pavement. I turned in applications in person, which got to be too expensive at a certain point in time because it cost gas to get to a place.
Yeah.
Eventually, I had to quit my job.
Places don't have addresses anymore, by the way.
Yeah. They don't? Oh.
No.
There's no Blue Book.
No, you can't go anywhere. You can go to Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but there's no Blue Book of all the production.
No, there's no places. If you go to if you find their address, it's either not there or they're never there.
Yeah.
Because they all work from home.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
or they say don't come in.
Yeah.
Straight up, they're like, I've had people, I printed out a bunch of shit. I was going around taking it to places. Told you about one of them. Where I rolled up to this person's house and I was like, it's like across from a school. And I was like, I feel like, what the fuck am I doing here? And so I called them. I was like, hey, is this so-and-so agent? And they were like, yeah. I was like, hey, I was going to drop off my resume. And they're like, oh, please don't do that. And I was like, yeah, I just kind of got a weird feeling. Like, she's like, yeah, that's my residence. And I was like, oh, well, what do you want me to do? And she's like, oh, well, email it to me. Are you SAG? And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, we can't help you.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so what do I do? Oh, get work. Oh, okay.
It's not easy. It's not easy being green.
You gotta know somebody.
You gotta know
somebody.
And you gotta know somebody
who could
not
you gotta know someone who will actually
you gotta know somebody
something.
who's in.
I know plenty of people that are in.
Yeah. No, who's in.
None of them will do anything. They won't do anything. I'll be like, hey, could you help me out? And they're like,
no.
Oh yeah, I'll ask around. They're not going to.
No. You gotta know somebody who's into taking you with them. That's kind of what happened to me. I met somebody who was like, I like you. And they were successful and they'd been around the block a number of times. And they were like, all right.
Which is the way it is. But here's the thing. That's the way it is with literally everything right now.
Yeah. They knew a bunch of people.
So in acting, one of my my acting teacher was actually like, oh, I'll send you some stuff. I actually need to email him. But he was like, I'll send you some stuff. And basically, before I even get it, I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
What it is find an agent and email them once every other week. Badger them to death with their emails. Find out where they go. Badger them to death. Badger them to death. Be a badger. Go, 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 go. Badger, badger, badger. This has nothing to do with acting. It has to do everything with making it an acting. Go be a badger. You know, I hate that. But it's like, hey, I never thought growing up, granted, maybe I just wasn't a fucking adult. I never thought it was, hey, contort yourself into something you hate. Now you can live. I don't like being annoying.
Yep. I don't.
And that's what it all is. Go be annoying.
I don't like having a boss.
Go being annoying.
Because that is annoying to me. Because I don't like it when people tell me what to do. I just don't like it. It has been my nemesis throughout the entire career that I've lived. Oh, you have an opinion about how I should do something? It's definitely I'm my own worst enemy in that.
It seems like that's the world we live in now.
Yeah, that crazy.
I'm starting to not want to live in that world.
Yeah, don't do that. You just gotta
I'm gonna go find a goddamn boat and peace the fuck out.
Yeah, my buddy did that. He's doing that. He's in Oklahoma building a boat.
Or a country that I can live in or something.
Good luck with that. A lot of countries require for you to live there require a certain amount of money in your bank account,
right?
And or require you to leave every so often because people do that and they want, if you don't leave the country, they'll kick you out.
It's interesting.
It's interesting.
Is there a place in the world where you can just go?
You could probably go to Antarctica.
Can you? Can you actually to get there?
I mean, I don't think that it's easy.
I don't think you can just go there.
I don't think it's easy to survive. You think it's a natural, like a United Nations preserve of some kind?
I don't know. I think getting there is extremely expensive.
Yeah. Well, if you had your boat.
I don't think you'd make it.
Yeah, no, I don't think you'd make it either. Not on a sailboat, not easily. Not without.
I think that's a good way to go die.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think if I had a sailboat and sailed around, I think I'm not a sailor. That is not me. I've been on boats my whole life, and I never wanted to go out in the ocean on a boat and sail around. I mean, I've been on the ocean on like small craft, and it's just a lot of
tussle.
Come on, this is like too much. I just wanna. I think I'm a land lover. I think that's where it's at. Speaking of land and loving land, what are you eating?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can? I'm mukbanging.
Yeah.
My little thing doesn't say that I'm registering when I eat.
I mean, I see you eating.
So you can't hear me?
No, I can't hear you eat.
No, you can't hear. So I'm not mukbanging. You can just see it. I'm eating presently corn. It's poor people food. Like quite literally. It's stuff that's delivered. A couple of my roommates, they get this because they're senior citizens. And they were like, hey, we don't like this poor people food. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I'll eat your poor people food. Because they're, established and they can, buy their food.
Sure.
So I eat their poor people food. They're like, oh, we don't like that corn.
But
I'm gonna eat the shit out of that.
They just send it to you. I remember eating a lot of ramen noodles. I ate a lot of spaghetti. I can't eat spaghetti now. Spaghetti with red sauce.
Oh man.
I just burned myself out on it. Like, like the cheapest thing. It was like $2, and you can get spaghetti with red sauce, and put some hot peppers in it, and maybe a little cheese on top.
Yeah,
that was.
though, I do want to eat food that's actually like somewhat nutritious.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're just eating ramen, you're not really eating.
Yeah.
Ramen. It's like you're actually just starving yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Ramen and peas. So I put peas and mushrooms in the ramen. That helped it.
Yeah, peas and mushrooms are fine. But I was eating ramen out here, and I was like, man, I think I'm actually saving myself money, but I'm actually costing myself because this is I'm gonna get sick. Like I'm gonna get sick.
It'll make you sick for sure. If you don't,
it's delicious. I like it.
Yeah, it is good. But I like it. I liked it. I haven't had it in a long time. I buy this ramen now at Costco. It comes in like a big bulk, and it doesn't have the flavor packets. It's just the noodles.
Is it pretty good stuff?
It's all right. I mean, I don't eat it a lot, but sometimes I'll make a soup and throw one of the little things in a soup. Like, I put the flavoring in the soup.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with like ramen flavoring. Because that stuff is what's the really bad stuff for you.
Yeah.
The noodles are bad, but like
I throw down like the chicken noodle soup, those, and then throw in garlic and mushrooms and stuff. And that's usually pretty good. As in, it's actually not too bad for you. A little bit salty, but it's pretty good for you. I'm just in a tough way, man.
Yeah.
I know that Los Angeles is hard. And you know, who's to say it's the right thing to do? But knowing what to do, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
And
wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah. It's just an idea of like, you have one life and you should live it and enjoy it. And people have this mentality of, oh, well, life is just shit and you have to deal with it. And I'm like, I don't understand that. I'm not trying to say like everything needs to be shits and rainbows, but you should enjoy your life. And if you don't enjoy your life, you should be going towards something where you do. And if you don't, there's a problem. There is a problem. That is a problem. That's a problem. It's a problem if people, the vast majority of people, hate every minute. That's a problem. If they just need to be pacified by product, that's a problem. That's a fucking problem. A big one. It's not okay. You got one, dude. You got one life. That's it. Why the fuck is it, oh, you need to sacrifice yourself on the altar of what? Oh, you exist? So deal with it because we don't want to hear your bullshit? Is that it? I think that's it. That's a problem. I don't know how to fix that. This is the reason I try not to just bitch about it, but there needs to be a solution. I don't know if it's politics.
Well, it's not.
I don't know if it's just living the way you want to live. I don't know.
Our guest tonight, he was a lobbyist. The guest that canceled. And made a living being a lobbyist until COVID hit. And he suddenly didn't have a job. I think he was working in Washington. It's funny. I know quite a bit about this person. And so it's really annoying when somebody cancels. It takes a lot of effort. But they
kind of like applying to jobs and building website and getting all your skills up and then being kicked out by a fucking algorithm, like not even a human looked at your fucking resume.
Speaking of which, I want to do a film festival website. Let me finish the lobbyist thing. Yeah. But like COVID hit, and then like he decides that he's gonna be a book writer, write books, and he sells them. And he I think he's pretty successful. He was like a top Amazon seller.
That sounds successful.
And was able to quit his job.
Definitely sounds successful.
But the reason why he was able to quit his job is that he had a job that paid him for a long enough time so he would feel safe, I'm sure, to put the time into writing and those aspects. Basically, he wrote a couple of books that did well based off of his campaigns, his Dungeons and Dragons campaigns.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
And that's how he built the world that he was in. I read your book. I Think You Can Write. I think that the tools for marketing are where you fail, or where you struggle with. Like,
no, that's where I fail.
And the thing is it's all circling to this. One of our issues with our podcast, and the reason why it's not as successful as it should be, is because we're not always selling. We are not, like, I was in sales early on in my career, or in my life as a younger person. I would sell computers or CDs or whatever they put me in front of to sell. Radio Shack parts.
Yeah.
A number of different, like, that was always a go-to job. I can't do sales anymore. That job is over. That job is gone. No one does sales. That is not but that's how these, like, he literally said, and I think I said this earlier, going to Comic-Cons, going to events, and you did that.
Yeah.
The comic. And how many people did you talk to that day?
A lot.
And nobody bought. Or how many books did you sell, or did you sell any?
I think I may have had like 10 or 15 or something.
Mm-hmm. You sold 10 or 15 books?
Yeah, I sold them.
Yeah.
I had to negotiate with a few of the people.
Yeah.
And sell them for less, which I shouldn't have done, but I did do.
So that's how he did it.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think
the issue with my book is it costs $35 to print, whereas a trade book, like he likely sold, costs about $5.
Yeah.
And so you can get the table for $1,500 or whatever, and you have to buy $1,000 worth of books rather than $5,000 worth of books.
Sure.
Like, it's about the product and how much money you can make out of it. I actually have a novella that is finished. I'm editing it to actually sell at conventions. But it's just another endeavor, dude.
Yeah. And
it's just another fucking endeavor.
That was his focus. That is your problem. Your problem is you got too much shit. You're too smart.
Yeah, I got too many.
No, you're literally, you've got too many interests. You got too much shit, and
too many irons in the fire.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's always been that.
I'm that way. That's me.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I like a lot of different things.
The people that I know that are actually successful, they're very boring people. And then they're like, you know what? I'm gonna write a book. And then they end up writing a sophomoric whatever book, and kind of start selling it. But then they're consistent, and that's what they do, and they do that, and that's the way to do it. But that's their way. This is an argument I've had with a lot of people. People, like, for example, that are like, oh, you're late, don't be late. You're late, and that means all these things. You don't respect my time, all that fucking bullshit. And the argument is, there's two. One is, okay, so what's something you actually struggle with? Let's say it's food, you fat fuck. Let's say you can't regulate your fucking food, like a lot of people can't. Oh, you can't say that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what I can't regulate? My fucking circadian rhythm. Oh, that means you're lazy. No. It means it's something that I struggle with. And when you struggle with something, you struggle with it. It's hard for you. So when someone else who doesn't struggle with it, for example, I don't struggle with my weight. Ever. I'm like, you fat fuck, what's wrong with you? Stop fucking eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's stupid of me because they struggle with it. And if I'm going to have any kind of sympathy whatsoever, I'm going to be like, oh, this is actually something they deal with. They have to win to get anywhere. But people don't have that. Second argument against people being late, since I'm going to go on a tirade and I'm so angry. If you're on time, you are late.
Yep.
If you're late, you are late. So saith the military people. You know, the military is a good way to base your life, you pieces of shit.
If you're late, you're pregnant.
Yeah, if you're late, you're fucking pregnant. You know what? If you're early, you know what you're not? You know what you're not? Honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
You're not honest. Hey, when do you want to meet at the diner tonight? 8 o'clock? Why the fuck are you showing up at 7:45? Oh, because that way I'm early. Actually, it's because you like to wait. Because if you're going to agree with me that at 8 o'clock we meet, and you show up at 7:45 or 7:30 or 7:20, you like to wait.
Yeah.
You like to wait. You are a person. Well, I'm always early. No, you fucking like to wait on people.
Oh.
And then you like to take the fucking moral high ground and be like, I can't believe you made me wait 10 minutes. When your fucking punk ass was there 15 minutes early. You knew you were going to be waiting 15 minutes and you got butthurt over 10. Go fuck yourself. I'm a late person and I don't like waiting on people. Yeah. So I don't.
When you're early, at least the reason I show up early, because I'm 10, maybe 15 minutes early. I get stressed out thinking like there's going to be an accident. There's going to be something terrible that's going to happen in front of me. I get really stressed out by being late or on time. On time, I'm fine with. I don't mind being a few minutes late, but it stresses me out. Like I don't like it when I wait for people, and if somebody doesn't show up and like 5 minutes after, 10 minutes after, it's really pisses me off.
Yeah, why?
Because it's my time.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
And I've taken a lot of time thinking about this.
Yeah.
People have a lot of arrogance and hubris. Oh, my time. Oh, it's worth so much. Really?
Doing something else.
Your time is worth so fucking much.
If
your time ain't worth more than my time.
Else. Yeah, we'd be doing something else. If we weren't doing this, we'd be doing something else.
I'm talking about meeting up at cafes. People that are early have an arrogance about them, that their time is worth more than other people's, that their time is worth lots. No, that's not it. Yes, it is, because we agreed at 8 and you showed up early. So you haven't been waiting on me for 10 minutes. You've been waiting for 10 minutes plus whatever the fuck grace period you showed up with.
Yeah, but
So then you go, oh, well, I did all this. I showed up early. I prepared. I did this. What did you do? It's a high and mighty, self-righteous, fucking bullshit argument.
It's not bullshit, because when you show up early, that you get home court advantage. You get the better seat. You get to like choose the area that you're in. Like other people show up early, then you're at the whims of whatever they decided. If you show up early, you get to sit on the right side of the table. You get to dictate a lot.
Yeah, so why are you bitching if they're showing up 10 minutes late?
Well, 10 minutes late is okay. 20 minutes isn't, 25 minutes is not. Because it's just like, if you're not going to show up, like at 20
But they do
minutes,
show up. They do show up. Yeah. They didn't ghost you. They do show up. And this is the difference.
Yeah.
People that procrastinate and just never show up. People that end up, hey, it's 2 hours late, and they make the effort to actually be there. Oh, fuck them. Really? They made all that trip.
Yeah, but 2 hours is too long because most things happen within an hour and a half. 2 hours, it's over.
GGP lasts
not
longer.
yeah, 2 hours is not a thing. That's like, but the reason why
It's like a party or something.
People show up late because it's a power thing. It is as well.
Oh.
I mean, sir. I mean,
You mean
make
like a
people
party?
late. Maybe not a party, but if you had a meeting with someone, like I've met a lot of producers, and they'll show up 45 minutes to an hour late. The difference is if somebody's paying you, and if they're not paying you, there's a money thing that you can add to that too. You can't be late if you're getting paid.
You can be late.
You can. It's not advisable.
Why can the producer show up late?
Because they have more power than you. Because they can fire
your... I see. So it has nothing to do with professionalism. It has nothing to do with professionalism.
If you waste their time, you're out. It's not professional. You're correct.
You see? You see? Do you see?
I also charge.
This is exactly what I mean.
Like, if I'm on the clock at 8 when we agreed to, that's when the money starts ticking. If they show up at 8:45, I'm still billing from 8. It doesn't matter if it's a paid thing.
I had an epiphany. It's probably the wrong word. So, what I just told you is a line I've thought for a long time as a person who has struggled with being punctual. But I had an epiphany in the last couple years, and it was this. Why do I want to be early? Because I hate waiting. Yeah. And about 20 minutes before I need to be somewhere is when I finally get into the groove of whatever it is that I'm doing. Because I'm a procrastinator and I have ADHD and I need the pressure. So now I can actually focus. See, the 5 hours prior to that meeting, I can't focus. That's the issue. So that meeting is over my head the whole time, and all I'm thinking about is that meeting, and I can't focus. 10, 20 minutes prior, man, I can finally focus.
Sure.
So, I had an epiphany.
Okay, let's hear your...
The epiphany is this. Why do I want to be early? When it comes to acting and things that I truly care about, it's because I care about the project. And I know that me being there ready when the wheels hit the ground, I'm ready to run, is one less thing that impedes the project from getting done. That rhymed. The other thing is I want to be known as a person that is there. A non-issue. It's, oh, who do we have on the roster? Boom, 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 boom. What do we have to solve? And I'm not even mentioned. They look, and I'm there. Whether I'm the director, or I'm the actor, or the whatever, the PA, whatever. They look, and boom, I'm there with a light. Or I'm there ready with my lines. Or I'm there ready with the script, or whatever it is. That's why. I, personally, it has nothing to do with anyone else's precious time. It has nothing to do with those people. It has to do with me. I'm on time for those jobs because I'm like, for me to do this job, it needs to be this. Now, I've thought, so what's the deal with like Dreadlord live play? And the reason there, it's more complicated. The reason there that when I am late, although I'm rarely late actually to Dreadlord live play or the GGP.
And
we start late, but I'm not late.
You're about 5 more minutes before we start, or before the hour.
Traditionally, but the last 2 or 3 times I haven't been. The last 2 or 3 times it's been 30 to 45 minutes early.
Oh, have you?
Because I made a concerted effort to actually do it. I know. See, that's another thing you early people never actually take notice of is when people that are procrastinators and late actually show up early. That's another reason why we stopped doing it. Because we're like, you know what? It didn't fucking matter. Every time I show up, I'm reminded, well, this time you didn't. Go suck a dick.
If I don't arrive and start lugging all this shit in, like within, I would say 2 hours, a minimum of 2 hours is what it takes, we won't start.
No, you're right. But and all graces be to you who actually makes that thing happen. However, half the time to more than half the time, the reason we don't start on time is because the tech has a problem.
Yeah.
So
but it's hard. It's hard.
Tech is hard. OBS is a piece of shit. Everything's a piece of shit. However, no one is going to look at you and be like, well, Ken, well, no one's going to say that. Why are we late?
If you want to start, I can start the stream at exactly that time. Because
I told you to start it. Yeah. I told you to do it. Just start it. Start it at 7.
But I worry about getting on there and just, like, I don't want to do 20 minutes of non-conversation.
Yeah, we don't want to get on there, and I mean, that's my point as well. Yeah. When we're doing Dreadlord live play, when I jump in and I see that the proverbial room is in disarray, or people need to actually talk, hey, let's be human for a second before we go live. That is more important to me than it is smoke some grass, dude.
Yeah, Buckmud said we should smoke some weed. I feel like that would be a different... I can't imagine smoking weed before.
Can you imagine me being high? It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing in the world.
Have you smoked weed before?
Yeah.
Like real? I mean, you live in a state that it's legal.
Not here.
So you could smoke weed anytime you want. Maybe that's your issue. You don't.
It's not my drug of choice. It's not my drug.
Coffee is your drug.
Coffee is my drug.
Alcohol is your drug.
Kinda, sort of. I'm kind of getting out of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, alcohol. I like the taste of alcohol, but I don't like the effect of it.
Yeah. I really don't like it. I like alcohol so much. I just want to drink. I just want to drink and drink and drink.
See, I don't.
It's like I do have a desire to do that.
I'm not addicted to many things.
Yeah.
I don't have an addictive personality. I have a nervous personality. So I'm just, I'll have like 6 drinks and I'm drinking all of them. Mm-hmm. And it's not about that effect. In fact, I despise the effect that alcohol has.
I can't.
It makes me feel like I've gotten hit in the head.
No, it spaces you out a little bit. I mean, and I don't struggle with it because I limit myself to a couple of drinks. Yeah. Like sometimes I'll like if I'm going big, it's like 3.
Like Dreadlord live play, I understand.
And I only drink more on Dreadlord live play, but I shouldn't because I feel like I'm actually a lot more clear when not. I have more fun drinking. I think
it's fun.
It's fun, but I really can't imagine smoking weed and playing. I mean, have you had people role play with you while smoking?
Yeah. Weed? So one of my buddies ran a game, and one of the players would dab at the table.
A little dab will do ya.
And there's a point where about halfway through the game, we'd look and be like, "Hey man, what do you do in fucking, Strahd's vampire castle? What happens?" And he'd be like, "What?" Like, bonkers, just out, totally gone. And we had to talk to people. We had to say, "Hey, look, don't break out the liquor before the last hour of the game, and no dabs. And when it comes to smoking, you gotta hold it. You gotta hold it off or whatever. Because the thing with weed is you just don't care. Nothing. It takes the edge off. You can't feel
It's so dab is not inhaling vapors and of heated.
No, dab is a little bit different.
I'm not sure what dab
Smoke
is.
some grass, dude. I get it, Buckmud. I get it. You're probably right. Just chill the fuck out.
I think if you were an audience member and you smoked weed and listened
That'd be
to
awesome.
a podcast,
That'd be awesome.
it would make. I think that is the issue with weed is it lowers the threshold. You enjoy everything maybe a little more, or get paranoid in your own head about everything.
Kind of levels you out.
Yeah, I mean the experience is different.
Calm
As an
down.
audience member, and I think music even more so. I think weed and talking is difficult. I mean, and less enjoyable. Like I wouldn't want to smoke.
Well, you
weed.
loosen up. If you have a beer or two and you're playing guitar, you loosen up. If you smoke, you loosen up. But there's a point where
it doesn't make you play better, but it makes you enjoy the sound maybe better. But I think with communication of any kind, watching a film, if it was an action film, that's one thing. But I think like a talkie, not so much.
Yeah. I mean, if all of this explosion causes a catastrophic explosion, that's no good. You know? So Buckmud is right. He says, I don't actually mean smoke, but actually chill the fuck out.
I don't think that that's not us. That's not Bill, I don't think. And I'm wound up. I'm just always
not chill.
I'm just always a little bit wound. I think I would have a panic attack if I was made to smoke weed and then do this. I think I would just lose my shit. And I would shut down. I would turn into a ghost. I would just be sitting here like thinking too much, not saying anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, check it out. I've got to teach English here in a little while.
Yeah.
Because I'm a millennial and I have not one job but 4. So I got to go do another job so that I can pay rent.
All right. Well, then. I think
we'll have
tighten up our
we'll
life.
have your what?
That is my thought, my critique.
What's that?
I think we should tighten up our life play. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. And I don't think it's the reason why we don't have a lot of views or not. Because I was looking through other role-playing game podcasts, and I think the quality of what we're doing is actually more engaging and interesting pace than what a lot of other people do. But I think that we can always improve. So that's my thought. I feel like we could all do better.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the generation X or of me. But I think that this is a product and that this is something we're selling by doing it as much as having a good time. But the way we're doing it, we need to choose one of the two. Like we're at a phase where we're not necessarily being
you mean choosing one of the two, like
either have fun or turn it into something that makes money.
Right. Well, getting an audience and it making some cash would be spectacular.
It would make the fun different. But that would require more out of every one of us and not just you or
when it comes to GGP, I think that's something we can control. Dreadlore live play, I don't think that's going to happen. We're dealing with players who are coming to consume content. This is not something that they're thinking of as a project. They're thinking of it as a hobby.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's hobbyists. Yeah. And in fact, they are not going to do it as a job. Period. Sure. It's not going to be a job.
Yeah.
So we finish out the campaign, and if we want to continue that, then we find, kind of like that Lucas was saying, you find cast members, like actual cast members that are working. that's like, hey, look, we're trying to do a thing. You are here to perform and play, and it's fun, but you're here for a reason, not to play video games while we stream.
Yeah, but I think that is the engagement level that you're looking at, is that you want people to engage.
Friends aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
I've tried to get friends. This is the second time I've tried to get friends to make something as a live stream, and it doesn't work. They have their lives, the things that they actually do that are important, and then because they're friends, they have committed to this project of mine.
Yeah.
And so they're committed to it enough to show up.
Yeah.
And play.
No, and they're great. And
that's all they're going to do. That's all they're going to do.
On there. I guess that means that we're not friends.
We're friends and colleagues as well.
I guess they're not mutually exclusive.
No,
I enjoyed tonight. I definitely was. I think we should add the 24-hour cancellation policy, and I think we should promote our guest ahead of time so that when they show up, we can say something. The neat thing about us not promoting them is the fact that we don't.
We need to get you. We need to get you somehow on the pod match. That way, you can have some sort of agency there.
Yeah. I tried to. I think other than giving me the sign-in that you have, I don't think I can.
No, we'll just have to do that. That's fine. That's not a problem. And then when it comes to the Twitter, you can just have the Twitter too, because that's what I use.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is that you use, and we can promote that way.
I just message my friends and say you want to be on.
Yeah.
I got 3 of them, which I don't have a link or anything, and I'm waiting to do that.
You have the link
because but I'm afraid to give the link. So.
Oh yeah. Because Google Calendar is a big pile of shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can even look at it, man. I'm not gonna look at it for a while.
Yeah, don't. Just fucking. Let's do the next month or so the way we do it. And give me a Friday so I can schedule one.
Okay. Well, any Friday is pretty good, save for this one.
Yeah. Well, let's
all right.
put it on the calendar for 2 weeks.
See, you should see if T-Pain likes TTRPGs. It'd be sick if he promoted Dreadlore. For real.
Yeah, it would.
Hey, Buckmud, send T-Pain.
I thought T-Pain died.
I don't know. I hope not. Buckmud also says, cast, it is the way. All right, y'all, we're out. Thank you so much for joining. Buckmud, thank you very much for joining. And whoever the other person is, thank you for jumping in. Whomever you are that's been silent, we appreciate you being here, watching me completely fucking implode. Hopefully next Thursday we'll actually have a guest. The Red. Also this Monday, if you're interested in watching Dreadlore live play, it's on Twitch, 7 p.m.-ish. Eastern Standard.
I do
Thanks
think
to the Patreon.
Yeah, the Patreon.
Patreon peoples, Nostalgic, Tim Roberts, Daniel Holker, and Natalia Cline. Hashtag Dreadlores for everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, promote us where you can if you want. If you don't, go fuck yourself. All right, I think that's it. Oh, thanks Couchfire Media for being Couchfire Media. You know, they do freelance work. You can check them out. www.
Like all the millennials.
couchfiremedia.com. Thank you, Ken, for rocking and rolling.
Okay.
And I think that's all we got. Did we have any music?
Yeah.
All lowercase letters. And Mr. Interrupt.
I didn't play any Mr. Interrupt tonight, but I like them.
Well, check out the all lowercase letters on whatever social media you're on, because they're everywhere and you can use them in your videos, and it actually helps. So that would be a huge way to help us out.
Yeah.
All right. That's what we've got. Bye.